Mesopotamia, cradle of the ancient world, to rivers carved life into the land. Villages grew, giving birth to cities. Fertile soil fed dreams of early kings. Babylon rose where city-states once thrived. Traders, priests, and warriors shaped its path. A jewel of civilization sparkled through time. The Tigris and Euphrates whispered history's secrets. Small Babylon began as a humble settlement. Mud brick houses lined narrow, winding streets. Villagers worked, traded, and lived closely together. Life was simple, yet ambition quietly grew. Rivers shaped land, giving fertile soil abundance. Fields provided food for families and herds. Water brought life, but also harsh floods. Survival demanded courage, wisdom, and unity daily. Neighbors watched Babylon, sensing rising potential. City elders dreamed of expanding beyond borders. Strategies formed in quiet council chambers carefully. Every decision nudged the city toward greatness. Merchants carried goods along winding river paths. Trade brought wealth, connecting towns far and wide. Small victories strengthened confidence among ruling leaders. Ambitions of kings ignited dreams of empire. Merchants carried goods along winding river paths. Trade brought wealth, connecting towns far and wide. Small victories strengthened confidence among ruling leaders. Ambitions of kings ignited dreams of empire. Babylon's reputation spread slowly across Mesopotamia. Rival cities began to notice its growing strength. Alliances were forged with cautious negotiation strategies. The city-state positioned itself as a dominant power. Soldiers trained, prepared for potential conflicts nearby. Walls were strengthened to protect growing populations. Strategy and defense became central to city planning. Leadership relied on both wisdom and strong armies. Kings encouraged artisans, scribes, and record keepers. Cultural growth went hand in hand with expansion. Writing preserved laws, trade, and royal achievements. Knowledge became another pillar of Babylonian strength. Every day marked progress toward regional dominance. Farmers, traders, and priests shared city ambitions. Hope and determination filled every bustling street. Babylon's rise reflected unity, courage, and vision. Temples and marketplaces thrived alongside administrative halls. Sacred rituals and commerce shaped daily life equally. The city became a symbol of power realized. Each brick echoed the dreams of its leaders. Small Babylon transformed into a regional powerhouse. Its influence stretched across Mesopotamia's fertile plains. From modest beginnings, an empire quietly awakened. The foundation for a dynastic glory had been laid. Babylon's kings sought unity among nearby lands. Sumerian cities held pride, tradition, and power. Akkadian territories stretched across fertile river plains. Leaders dreamed of bringing them under Babylon. Diplomacy became a key to lasting control. Envoys traveled, bearing gifts and royal words. Rival city-states watched cautiously, wary of change. Every alliance required careful negotiation and patience. Battles erupted when diplomacy failed to persuade. Armies clashed upon dusty, sun-scorched plains. Spears and shields reflected courage and strategy. Victory meant dominance over rebellious neighbors. Kings strengthened Babylon's hold with wise decisions. Tribute and loyalty were exchanged for protection. Laws and taxes created structured governance systems. Stability spread, encouraging trade and social growth. Priests played pivotal roles in unifying regions. Temples became centers of worship and authority. Divine favor justified kings' claims and rule. Rituals inspired obedience across newly allied lands. Borders expanded gradually, integrating diverse communities. Cultures blended, creating rich Babylonian traditions. Sumerian, Akkadian, and Babylonian languages mingled. Art, literature, and knowledge flourished in cities. Roads and canals linked distant cities together. Trade caravans connected markets far and wide. Babylon became the hub of economic prosperity. Every success reinforced the king's growing power. Soldiers maintained order across the newly united lands. Fortifications were built to defend conquered territories. Loyalty was rewarded, betrayal punished with precision. Fear and respect balanced the ruler's authority. Kings documented conquests and alliances on clay tablets. Scribes recorded history, law, and royal decrees. Knowledge preserved allowed future generations to understand. Written records solidified Babylon's growing legacy. Rising unity brought stability to the fertile plains. Farmers, artisans, and merchants prospered under protection. Babylonian influence extended through culture and commerce. Every city began recognizing Babylon's growing supremacy. The unification set the stage for empire. King's vision transformed scattered lands into cohesion. Babylon became the center of political gravity. Ambition and strategy shaped the heart of Mesopotamia. Babylon thrived along fertile riverbanks and plains. Fields stretched wide, nourished by flowing waters. Farmers sowed seeds, ensuring harvests fed many. Life depended on nature's generosity and timing. Irrigation canals carried life to barren lands. Engineered waterways transformed deserts into productive fields. Crops flourished under careful guidance and labor. Abundance allowed cities to expand and prosper. Trade routes connected Babylon to distant kingdoms. Merchants traveled far with grains and textiles. Goods exchanged ideas, culture, and wealth alike. Commerce spread Babylonian influence across Mesopotamia's lands. Markets buzzed with voices, laughter, and negotiation. Pottery, spices, and precious metals changed hands. Wealth grew steadily, strengthening king's growing power. Every transaction reinforced Babylon's economic dominance silently. Farmers, artisans, and traders formed society's backbone. Fields fed armies, towns, and bustling marketplaces. Artisans shaped goods that adorned palaces and temples. Labor and skill supported every level of society. Seasonal festivals celebrated harvests and divine favor. Religious rituals honored gods for fertility and rain. Priests ensured blessings upon the land and people. Faith intertwined with daily work and commerce deeply. Rivers became highways for goods and ideas alike. Boats carried merchandise swiftly to neighboring cities. Trade fostered friendships and alliances across kingdoms. Babylon's reputation grew with each successful exchange. Storage houses preserved grain and valuable commodities carefully. Surplus supported armies, construction, and cultural projects. Food security strengthened political and social stability. Planning and foresight defined Babylonian governance methods. Agricultural innovation spread from one city-state to another. New crops, techniques, and tools improved productivity fast. Knowledge of the land became a strategic advantage. Farmers adapted, ensuring prosperity during changing seasons. Craftsmen produced goods for local and foreign markets. Textiles, pottery, and jewelry carried Babylonian artistry far. Trade expanded cultural horizons alongside economic growth. Art and commerce intertwined to reflect society's values. Kings encouraged trade missions to distant lands boldly. Ambassadors traveled, bringing both wealth and influence. Babylon became a hub for commerce and diplomacy. Connections strengthened, uniting regions under economic ties. Irrigation and trade laid foundations for empire. Wealth allowed investment in walls, temples, and palaces. Agriculture and commerce fueled both growth and ambition. Babylon prepared to dominate politically and culturally. The city prospered as a thriving economic center. Its influence touched regions near and far. Growth through land and trade became Babylon's strength. Every harvest and exchange echoed its expanding power. Ziggurats rose high above Babylonian streets. Mud brick towers reached toward the endless sky. Every step symbolized devotion and human ambition. Sacred structures reflected both power and faith. Temples became centers of spiritual and civic life. Priests guided rituals, offerings, and daily prayers. People gathered to honor gods above them. Divine authority shaped laws, trade, and governance. Rituals marked seasons, harvests, and royal events. Music, incense, and chants filled temple courtyards. Every ceremony reinforced the king's sacred mandate. The gods' favor justified Babylonian expansion and rule. Ziggurats dominated city skylines, visible for miles. Travelers marveled at monumental steps and platforms. Climbing them symbolized approaching divine presence closely. Stone and brick echoed devotion across generations. Kings claimed divine endorsement through temple rituals. Public ceremonies displayed wealth, power, and piety. Sacred spaces reinforced political authority quietly but firmly. The ruler's image intertwined with God's influence. Priests held knowledge of astronomy, math, and law. Temples doubled as educational and scientific centers. Stars and planets guided religious festivals and agriculture. Knowledge legitimized the king's role in society. Offerings of food, gold, and precious gems abounded. Faith intertwined with wealth, shaping city prosperity. Devotion and power became inseparable in Babylon. Every gift honored gods and reinforced political might. Ziggurat staircases led to altars above clouds. Climbing symbolized human striving toward divine insight. Architecture embodied both engineering skill and religious vision. Each brick carried devotion and calculated intention. Local communities gathered for prayers and guidance often. Faith united citizens under shared cosmic understanding. Religious life regulated daily routines and seasonal work. Belief shaped law, commerce, and social hierarchy. Sacred spaces inspired awe in citizens and visitors. Art, sculpture, and inscriptions adorned temple walls. Divine stories and kings' deeds intertwined in stone. Every detail reflected power, piety, and ambition. The ziggurats marked Babylon's spiritual and political heart. Kings, priests, and people participated in its influence. Authority flowed from temples into streets and markets. Faith guided the city's governance and identity deeply. Monumental religious architecture symbolized eternal Babylonian legacy. Even distant regions recognized the city's sacred stature. Temples anchored culture, politics, and social unity. Divine authority became the invisible backbone of power. Babylon's skyline defined devotion, ambition, and vision. Every ziggurat told stories of gods and kings. Faith shaped law, culture, and political decisions. Temples stood as eternal monuments to divine influence. Sacred architecture made Babylon the envy of lands. Rulers' legitimacy intertwined with celestial favor clearly. Every ceremonial act reinforced control across the city. Ziggurats and temples became symbols of empire's soul. Babylon's fame spread across fertile Mesopotamian lands. Rivers carried tales of its growing power. Travelers whispered stories of wealth and wisdom. The city's influence reached distant riverbanks quickly. Merchants shared news of Babylon's thriving markets. Trade routes linked cities near and far. Luxury goods and grains flowed through the empire. Babylon became the heartbeat of regional commerce. Kings' deeds were recorded on clay tablets carefully. Scribes preserved victories, laws, and royal decrees. Knowledge spread beyond city walls to neighbors. Written records strengthened reputation and authority steadily. Alliances formed with nearby city-states cautiously. Rival rulers respected Babylon's growing strength wisely. Diplomacy complemented military might and strategy. Every agreement expanded Babylon's political influence silently. Cultural achievements impressed visitors from distant lands. Art, literature, and architecture showcased sophistication widely. Ziggurats and temples drew awe and admiration. Faith and power intertwined in public life. Babylonian kings projected authority through ceremonies grandly. Public rituals reinforced loyalty and divine favor. Every festival displayed wealth, strength, and piety. The city became a model of civilization itself. Rivers acted as highways for communication and trade. Information and goods moved efficiently across regions. Babylon's reputation grew with every successful exchange. All Mesopotamia watched its rise with cautious eyes. Stories of kings reached villages and distant towns. Legends painted Babylon as both wise and powerful. Respect and fear combined to elevate its status. Every tale added weight to the city's name. Artisans, scholars, and priests contributed to renown. Education, religion, and craftsmanship impressed surrounding territories. Culture became a tool of influence and authority. Babylon's brilliance radiated across fertile plains widely. Neighboring cities emulated Babylonian law and customs. Influence spread through both admiration and necessity. Governance, trade, and culture reflected Babylonian models. Its legacy shaped the entire Mesopotamian region. Ambassadors carried gifts and messages from afar. Alliances strengthened under Babylon's rising shadow. The city's prestige grew with each diplomatic mission. Power and reputation became inseparable across territories. Farmers, merchants, and citizens shared in pride. Babylon represented opportunity, security, and prosperity daily. Unity and order reflected the city's growing strength. Every success echoed through the fertile river valleys. Military achievements ensured respect from rival states. Babylonian armies guarded borders and trade routes. Strength combined with culture to maintain supremacy. Every victory reinforced the city's legendary reputation. Scholars recorded history, law, and city achievements. Knowledge preserved allowed neighbors to witness greatness. Reputation became immortalized through words and deeds. Babylon's name echoed across generations, inspiring awe. The city emerged as Mesopotamia's unrivaled jewel. Influence stretched far beyond the Tigris and Euphrates. Its legacy shaped politics, culture, and commerce forever. Babylon's power and prestige became legend in history. Discover the secrets of Babylon's ancient world today. Explore its laws, wonders, and legendary stories vividly. Travel through time and witness human ambition unfold. Subscribe now and journey deeper into history's marvels. Hammurabi rose with ambition and vision. His armies marched across fertile Mesopotamian plains. City-states fell under his calculated authority. Strategy and diplomacy guided every military campaign. Rivers and canals aided troop movement efficiently. Soldiers trained rigorously for both siege and field. Tactics combined clever planning with overwhelming force. Every conquest strengthened Babylon's growing regional influence. Alliances were negotiated with neighboring city-states. Some rulers joined peacefully to avoid destruction. Diplomacy often accompanied displays of military might. Hammurabi balanced fear and respect carefully among leaders. Borderlands were secured with fortifications and garrisons. Outposts maintained order and ensured continued loyalty. Every new territory integrated under Babylonian control. Governance expanded alongside military achievements steadily. Campaigns showcased Hammurabi's intellect and decisive nature. Success inspired loyalty among soldiers and citizens. Rival kings feared Babylon's calculated and relentless power. Every victory reflected his vision of a unified empire. Trade routes and resources strengthened conquered lands. Cities thrived under Babylonian protection and administration. Economic stability reinforced political and military authority. Strategy intertwined with governance to secure long-term power. Hammurabi studied enemies carefully before every campaign. He anticipated rebellion, using spies and informants wisely. Knowledge of terrain and politics guided his actions. Every move carefully orchestrated to ensure success. The empire grew across rivers, plains, and deserts. diverse populations were brought under a single crown. Cultural and political integration strengthened Hammurabi's reach. Unity became a hallmark of his expanding kingdom. Military success and strategic planning cemented his legacy. Babylon transformed into an unchallenged regional powerhouse. Hammurabi's empire reflected intellect, force, and wisdom. Every conquest echoed his brilliance as a ruler. Hammurabi sought to unify law across empire. Disputes, crime, and trade needed clear rules. Justice required consistency for all citizens equally. He envisioned a system to govern fairly. Clay tablets became the medium for his code. Inscribed laws outlined duties, rights, and punishments. Every decree reflected order, authority, and clarity. Writing preserved rules for all generations to follow. The code addressed theft, marriage, and property rights. Business transactions and labor agreements were clearly defined. Penalties were severe, yet precise and structured carefully. Fairness was emphasized within a strict legal framework. Hammurabi's laws reinforced royal authority silently. King's power became intertwined with divine guidance. Obedience to law reflected both piety and loyalty. Citizens recognized the ruler as guarantor of justice. Codified law helped unify diverse city-states efficiently. Disputes across regions could be resolved consistently. Merchants, farmers, and nobles followed written decrees. Law became the backbone of Babylonian governance. Temples displayed copies of the code publicly. Everyone could see the king's rules enforced clearly. Divine sanction justified the penalties and regulations. Gods endorsed Hammurabi's authority and judgments wisely. Social hierarchy was acknowledged, yet laws applied broadly. Protection existed for the weak and marginalized citizens. Responsibilities were defined for every class and profession. Order and predictability strengthened both society and commerce. The code emphasized justice as a public duty. Citizens knew consequences for dishonesty and wrongdoing. Consistency fostered trust in the ruler's decisions. Respect for law became a cornerstone of daily life. Hammurabi's code influenced later civilizations profoundly. Egyptians, Greeks, and Romans drew lessons from Babylon. Principles of fairness and punishment traveled through time. Legacy of law became timeless across human history. Clay tablets preserved the king's vision permanently. Scribes copied decrees for courts throughout the empire. Knowledge of law spread to every city-state region. Hammurabi's wisdom echoed through generations quietly but firmly. The code unified culture, trade, and legal systems. It created order where chaos had once reigned. Justice, clarity, and authority became Babylon's foundation. Every law reflected ambition, intellect, and vision. Hammurabi's law code became a symbol of civilization. Kings, priests, and citizens acknowledged its lasting power. Order and governance intertwined with divine legitimacy. Babylon became a model of law and justice. Hammurabi's authority extended across the Babylonian Empire. Royal decrees ensured obedience from citizens and leaders. Justice became visible through strict enforcement daily. Order strengthened society, trade, and urban life. Courts were established in towns across regions. Judges applied law to disputes and crimes. Citizens witnessed punishment and reward balanced carefully. Fairness reflected both human and divine judgment. Kings sent officials to maintain law and order. Inspections ensured compliance with royal directives constantly. Officials documented cases, ensuring transparency and accuracy. Authority radiated from the throne to the provinces. Punishments matched offenses according to codified rules. The strong were checked, and weak were protected. Balance of fairness and severity enforced royal power. Citizens recognized the king as ultimate justice source. Public trials reinforced awareness of rules and penalties. Spectators learned consequences for dishonesty and disobedience. Fear and respect combined to uphold social stability. Royal presence inspired confidence in governance quietly. Temples supported king's authority through spiritual sanction. Priests proclaimed divine endorsement of law daily. Religion and politics intertwined to strengthen obedience. Sacred rituals reminded citizens of moral duties. Military and police ensured compliance in distant lands. Roads, waterways, and towns were monitored constantly. Inspections, reports, and punishments maintained strict control. Authority was felt in every corner of Babylon. Kings rewarded loyalty, valor, and civic responsibility. Merchants, farmers, and soldiers gained recognition and favor. Encouragement complemented fear, creating balanced governance systems. Order thrived where ambition met accountability faithfully. Records of trials preserved examples for future generations. Scribes documented cases meticulously across the empire. Lessons in justice were written for rulers ahead. Knowledge of enforcement ensured continuity of royal power. Legal authority was inseparable from king's identity. Hammurabi embodied justice, order, and sovereign command. The empire functioned efficiently under structured rule. Every citizen understood the consequences of actions. Babylonian society flourished under predictable governance frameworks. Stability allowed trade, agriculture, and culture to prosper. Royal authority guided laws, ceremonies, and administration. Order maintained unity among diverse peoples and cities. Temples, courts, and officials reflected king's influence. Faith, law, and leadership intertwined seamlessly together. Hammurabi's vision created balance, security, and prosperity. Justice became a living embodiment of royal will. The king's power extended far beyond battlefields. Every citizen, trader, and soldier recognized his reach. Order and justice became pillars of Babylonian strength. Hammurabi's legacy endured across generations, shaping civilization. Hammurabi improved Babylon's canals and irrigation. Water flowed efficiently across fertile agricultural lands. Farmers gained reliable harvests year after year. Fields thrived, feeding cities and armies alike. Old channels were widened and reinforced carefully. New waterways connected distant regions to rivers. Engineering brought abundance to previously barren soil. Innovation ensured stability and prevented devastating floods. Granaries stored surplus grain for future needs. Food security strengthened citizens and military forces. Families could plan and thrive without constant fear. Abundance fostered loyalty and urban development steadily. Trade routes benefited from agricultural surplus easily. Merchants transported goods safely across prosperous regions. Markets thrived with grain, textiles, and crafted wares. Economic activity fueled growth across the Babylonian Empire. Taxes from trade and harvest supported infrastructure projects. Roads, temples, and walls reflected organized governance. Wealth enabled investments in military and cultural achievements. Stability encouraged learning, arts, and public services. Water management became essential for regional prosperity. Irrigation projects created jobs and united communities. Engineers and laborers worked together toward shared goals. Every canal strengthened Babylon's foundation and influence. Floods were controlled with dikes and levees expertly. Natural disasters no longer threatened city survival. Predictable harvests allowed the empire to plan wisely. Stability became a hallmark of Hammurabi's rule. Agriculture supported population growth and urban expansion. Villages evolved into towns, towns into thriving cities. Wealth flowed from fields into marketplaces and palaces. Economic security reinforced confidence in royal leadership. Grain and resources fueled both trade and diplomacy. Babylonian influence spread peacefully through economic ties. Neighbors respected city prosperity as both power and model. Wealth became another tool of strategic governance. Farms, canals, and granaries symbolized organized civilization. Every irrigation project reflected human ingenuity and vision. Control over water meant a control over life itself. Hammurabi's foresight ensured Babylon's survival and growth. Economic stability allowed culture, education, and arts to flourish. Craftsmen, scribes, and merchants thrived under protection. Knowledge and innovation spread with prosperity and trade. Every citizen benefited from Hammurabi's careful planning. Babylon's rivers became lifelines for wealth and growth. Fields and canals connected people, cities, and ideas. Stability strengthened political, economic, and social systems. The empire flourished under organized and strategic management. Hammurabi's vision turned fertile land into power. Order, abundance, and foresight shaped the empire's destiny. Irrigation and economic planning became hallmarks of civilization. Babylon's strength rested on fertile soil and wise kings. Babylon flourished as a hub of culture. Artisans crafted pottery, statues, and intricate jewelry. Markets thrived, filled with color and energy. Every street reflected creativity and human ambition. Temples and ziggurats dominated city skylines proudly. Sacred architecture symbolized faith, power, and order. Priests guided rituals shaping both hearts and minds. Divine presence legitimized king's authority, silently yet firmly. Royal courts became centers of administration and law. Officials recorded decisions, trade, and tax collections. Governance relied on bureaucracy and careful documentation. Every decree reflected Hammurabi's vision and authority. Scholars studied astronomy, mathematics, and literature diligently. Knowledge was preserved in cuneiform on clay tablets. Education and record-keeping ensured continuity across generations. Wisdom became a tool of cultural influence and stability. Music, poetry, and storytelling filled Babylonian life. Festivals celebrated gods, kings, and communal achievements. Art, performance, and tradition intertwined daily. Culture became inseparable from cities' political identity. Trade brought new ideas from distant regions. Foreign goods and customs enriched Babylonian society quickly. Interaction with neighbors fostered innovation and adaptation. Cosmopolitan life reflected both wealth and diversity. Citizens participated in civic and religious life actively. Festivals, markets, and courts shaped everyday experiences. Shared values and rituals reinforced communal cohesion. Order, faith, and culture intertwined seamlessly in society. Law, economy, and religion defined the city's power. Every decision reflected balance between authority and fairness. Administration ensured smooth functioning across vast territories. Babylon became model for other emerging city-states. Artisans and architects created enduring monuments of skill. Temples, palaces, and walls reflected engineering mastery. Every structure symbolized both devotion and royal prestige. Cultural achievements immortalized Babylon's identity and vision. Hammurabi encouraged literacy, record-keeping, and education. Scribes recorded history, trade, and legal codes carefully. Knowledge flowed through government, temples, and markets. Intellectual growth supported governance and social order efficiently. Babylon's streets echoed with commerce and conversation daily. Merchants, scholars, and priests shaped vibrant communities. Cultural life strengthened political cohesion and city identity. Shared prosperity fostered pride in Babylon's achievements widely. Music, festivals, and art reinforced social stability. Citizens connected to rulers through shared tradition. Religion, law, and culture created lasting unity. Babylon's cultural brilliance became an enduring symbol. The city became a beacon of civilization proudly. Every innovation reflected vision, discipline, and ambition. Babylon's influence reached distant lands and peoples. Culture and governance intertwined to define empire strength. Hammurabi's reign transformed Babylon into a thriving center. Knowledge, art, and law became pillars of society. Every citizen benefited from organization and culture combined. The city's legacy echoed through Mesopotamia for centuries. Babylonian scribes pressed symbols into clay. Cuneiform marked ideas, trade, and history clearly. Writing allowed laws, stories, and knowledge preservation. Every tablet carried messages across time silently. Invention transformed communication within city and empire. Scribes recorded transactions, events, and royal decrees. Writing bridged distances between distant communities daily. Civilization advanced through symbols pressed carefully into clay. Early cuneiform evolved with each passing generation. Signs became standardized for clarity and accuracy. Education ensured scribes mastered the complex system. Knowledge spread as literacy expanded across society gradually. Records documented trade, contracts, and property ownership. Merchants relied on writing to maintain fair exchange. Legal codes were written to preserve justice effectively. Cuneiform became foundation for order and governance. Religious texts and prayers were carefully inscribed. Temples preserved divine stories for public guidance. Faith intertwined with written culture throughout the empire. Every tablet reflected devotion, knowledge, and authority clearly. Libraries emerged, storing tablets for kings and priests. Collections grew with administrative, literary, and scientific works. Scribes maintained knowledge for generations to access later. Writing became central to intellectual and cultural life. Art, literature, and poetry thrived thanks to cuneiform. Stories of gods, heroes, and kings inspired citizens. History was preserved and shared with accuracy carefully. Civilization's memory became tangible through inscribed clay. Education flourished in schools across Babylonian cities. Scribes trained in writing, accounting, and administration. Knowledge passed from teacher to attentive young students. Cuneiform ensured continuity of learning and culture. Legal, economic, and cultural systems depended on writing. Record-keeping supported fair trade and stable governance. Every tablet reinforced the city's administrative strength. Symbols became tools of order and civilization. Cuneiform spread influence to neighboring regions gradually. Merchants, diplomats, and scholars carried tablets widely. Babylonian knowledge impressed rulers across the ancient world. Writing elevated culture, trade, and governance simultaneously. The invention of cuneiform marked a turning point. Information became permanent, accessible, and widely transferable. History, law, and culture flourished because of symbols. Babylon became a beacon of written civilization. Babylonians studied stars and celestial patterns carefully. Night skies guided agriculture, festivals, and navigation precisely. Astronomers observed planets, moons, and eclipses meticulously. Knowledge connected humans to cosmos and divine order. Mathematics advanced through counting, measuring, and calculation. Scribes used clay tablets for computations accurately. Geometry and arithmetic supported construction, trade, and astronomy. Numbers became tools of understanding and planning. Calendars were created based on moon and sun. Months and years structured life, festivals, and governance. Timekeeping became essential for agriculture and religious ceremonies. Mathematics and astronomy intertwined to guide society effectively. Architects relied on geometry for ziggurats and walls. Precise measurements ensured stability and monumental grandeur. Mathematical knowledge supported irrigation and urban planning successfully. Numbers became a bridge between theory and practice. Tables of multiplication and fractions were widely used. Merchants calculated trade, interest, and resource distribution efficiently. Mathematical methods ensured fairness and organization in economy. Numbers shaped daily life and long-term planning carefully. Astronomical observations predicted eclipses, solstices, and seasons. Temples recorded celestial phenomena for priests' guidance. Knowledge of stars reinforced religious and practical authority. Heavens and earth connected through careful observation and record. Education in math and astronomy thrived in schools. Scribes trained rigorously to calculate and record precisely. Knowledge passed from teacher to apprentice meticulously. Generations preserved wisdom through rigorous scholarly tradition. Mathematics aided engineering, construction, and city management. Canals, walls, and palaces reflected precise calculations daily. Planning relied on numbers to ensure prosperity. Science became foundation for growth and civilization. Celestial charts informed navigation, agriculture, and religious festivals. Understanding stars guided trade routes and long journeys. Babylonian astronomy influenced neighbors across Mesopotamia widely. Knowledge spread through observation, teaching, and documentation. Scholarly work linked theory, observation, and application. Astronomers, mathematicians, and scribes collaborated constantly. Every calculation strengthened society, economy, and infrastructure. Science became inseparable from governance and daily life. Babylon's intellectual capital attracted scholars from afar. Curiosity and rigor flourished under royal encouragement. Mathematics and astronomy became symbols of prestige. Knowledge reinforced Babylon's dominance in ancient learning. Clay tablets preserved calculations, star charts, and methods. Scribes ensured knowledge survived generations and centuries. Mathematical and astronomical traditions endured through careful record-keeping. Wisdom became immortal, engraved in Babylonian civilization permanently. Science, numbers, and stars shaped life systematically. Order in cosmos reflected order in society carefully. Mathematics and astronomy became pillars of civilization. Babylon earned renown as a center of intellect. Babylonian scribes pressed symbols into soft clay. Each tablet captured trade, law, or history. Knowledge was recorded to survive floods and time. Every inscription preserved human thought meticulously and carefully. Tablets contained stories of gods, kings, and heroes. Literature, poetry, and myths endured through centuries. Civilization's memory was etched into durable clay. Wisdom survived across generations and distant lands. Administrative tablets tracked trade, harvest, and taxes. Merchants, farmers, and officials relied on written records. Economic stability depended on careful documentation consistently. Clay tablets ensured order throughout the empire efficiently. Legal codes were inscribed for citizens to reference. Hammurabi's laws guided disputes, punishment, and justice. Cuneiform provided permanence to royal authority. Written law reinforced fairness and social hierarchy clearly. Scientific knowledge was recorded on clay permanently. Astronomical charts and mathematical calculations were preserved. Observations of stars guided agriculture and festivals carefully. Every tablet became a bridge between present and future. Schools trained scribes to copy and create tablets. Knowledge passed through apprentices, learning from masters. Education ensured that wisdom would survive long term. Every tablet became a tool for intellectual continuity. Libraries stored thousands of tablets in careful order. Palaces, temples, and schools became centers of preservation. Knowledge could be accessed by kings, priests, and scholars. Clay became a vessel of civilization's enduring memory. Religious texts were inscribed to guide devotion faithfully. Prayers, hymns, and rituals were preserved for eternity. Sacred stories strengthened faith across generations consistently. Tablets connected humans with gods through written words. Records of trade ensured accountability and fairness in commerce. Contracts and agreements were documented with precision. Economic prosperity relied on permanent and reliable records. Clay tablets strengthened trust across Babylonian markets. Military campaigns and conquests were documented for posterity. Kings' achievements were recorded for citizens and neighbors. history became tangible through carefully inscribed cuneiform. Every tablet echoed power, strategy, and ambition clearly. Art, medicine, and scholarly knowledge thrived on clay. Technical diagrams and remedies were carefully recorded systematically. Science and culture survived because of these durable tablets. Every piece preserved civilization's growth and creativity permanently. Tablets allowed cross-generational communication and understanding. Past knowledge guided present rulers and future scholars. Cultural continuity depended on writing and preservation carefully. Every inscription reinforced the empire's intellectual foundation. Babylon became renowned for its literary and scientific wealth. Clay tablets immortalized ideas, events, and discoveries. Knowledge survived time, war, and natural disasters consistently. The city's intellect echoed through generations and empires. Babylonian schools trained young scribes diligently. Clay tablets, styluses, and ink guided learning. Students practiced cuneiform daily with discipline. Knowledge and skill were passed carefully forward. Scribes became essential to administration and governance. They recorded laws, trade, and royal decrees. Accuracy and precision defined their daily work. Every symbol carried responsibility and societal importance. Education began at early age systematically. Teachers instructed reading, writing, and mathematics clearly. Memorization and repetition ensured mastery over complex systems. Apprentices learned from experienced scribes patiently. Scholarly tradition emphasized ethics, responsibility, and diligence. Knowledge was intertwined with service to kings and gods. Students were taught both practical and spiritual lessons. Learning strengthened social cohesion and civic loyalty deeply. Libraries and schools housed vast collections of tablets. Literature, science, and history were preserved meticulously. Scribes accessed these resources to continue intellectual work. Continuity depended on careful copying and study faithfully. Mathematics, astronomy, and engineering were key subjects. Students calculated, observed stars, and designed infrastructure carefully. Practical skills complemented theoretical understanding thoroughly. Knowledge became a foundation for governance and culture. Religious and moral teachings were part of curriculum. Priests guided students in ceremonies, rituals, and ethics. Faith and scholarship were inseparable in society. Learning served both community and divine expectations constantly. Scribes documented economic transactions across Babylonian Empire. Trade, taxes, and inventory required meticulous recording. Commerce relied on education to function efficiently. Schools prepared scribes for critical administrative roles. Education ensured knowledge survived generations and disasters. Apprentices copied texts accurately on fresh clay. Every new tablet reinforced centuries-old traditions consistently. Civilization persisted through rigorous teaching and preservation. Teachers mentored students individually with great attention. Young scribes learned patience, focus, and careful observation. Skill and dedication determined future success clearly. Knowledge was both privilege and responsibility equally. Scholars collaborated to advance science, literature, and law. Ideas were exchanged within schools and libraries freely. Debate, observation, and experimentation fueled intellectual growth. Learning became collective endeavor across generations gradually. Public life depended on educated scribes and officials. Administration, justice, and culture thrived under their care. Every city, temple, and palace relied on expertise. Scholarly tradition shaped both knowledge and governance closely. Education reinforced social hierarchy and meritocracy simultaneously. Success depended on skill, intelligence, and diligence. Scribes became the backbone of Babylonian civilization. Every tablet, calculation, and record reflected their labor. Schools nurtured intellectual curiosity and disciplined thought. Knowledge guided rulers, priests, and citizens alike. Tradition, innovation, and skill intertwined seamlessly in education. Babylon became a hub of learning and wisdom. Babylon emerged as the intellectual capital proudly. Scholars, scribes, and priests gathered from afar. Knowledge of law, science, and literature flourished. Every street echoed curiosity and scholarly pursuit. Temples and schools became centers of learning. Education, religion, and administration intertwined seamlessly together. Cultural and scientific achievements reflected human ambition. Wisdom and creativity defined cities' global reputation. Clay tablets preserved knowledge across generations faithfully. Astronomy, mathematics, and medicine advanced rapidly. Scholars shared discoveries with kings and citizens. Learning became a tool of power and influence. Babylon attracted minds from neighboring city-states consistently. Students traveled for education, guidance, and inspiration. Cultural exchange spread ideas and innovation widely. Knowledge strengthened both society and political stability. Libraries became repositories of law, science, and art. Scribes meticulously copied texts to ensure preservation. History, religious teachings, and practical knowledge endured. Every tablet reinforced the city's intellectual prominence. Education shaped citizens, officials, and rulers systematically. Training in reading, writing, and calculation ensured skill. Disciplined study became key to social advancement. Scholarly tradition underpinned Babylonian governance and culture. Astronomical observations guided agriculture, festivals, and politics. Mathematical calculations supported trade, engineering, and daily life. Scientific knowledge became integral to civilization's progress. Babylon's intellect influenced all aspects of society deeply. Debate, observation, and learning thrived in public spaces. Temples and schools promoted discussion and critical thinking. Ideas circulated among scholars, priests, and officials freely. Curiosity and rigor defined the city's identity. Art, literature, and science reached unprecedented heights. Poets, mathematicians, and astronomers gained recognition widely. Cultural brilliance elevated Babylon above neighboring cities. Intellectual achievement became the city's lasting legacy. Legal, religious, and scientific knowledge intertwined naturally. Written records preserved wisdom for future generations reliably. Babylon's scholars guided decisions, trade, and governance. Knowledge became both practical tool and cultural pride. Trade and diplomacy carried Babylonian ideas across lands. Neighboring states adopted writing, law, and astronomy. Intellectual influence reinforced political and economic power. Babylon's reputation spread through wisdom and innovation. Temples celebrated both divine and human understanding. Faith and scholarship coexisted harmoniously throughout the empire. Learning was seen as a sacred civic duty. Every citizen witnessed the city's intellectual vigor. Babylon became a model for the ancient world. Education, science, and culture intertwined to inspire generations. Knowledge defined authority, stability, and civilization itself. The city's intellect became immortal across history. Scholars' legacy endured through tablets, observation, and teaching. Wisdom was shared, preserved, and applied practically. Babylon became a beacon for learning and progress. Intellectual capital shaped Mesopotamia and the ancient world. The Kassites arrived with quiet ambition gradually. They claimed kingship and integrated into Babylonian society. New rulers adopted traditions, yet brought innovations. Stability became their hallmark across generations consistently. Kassite kings maintained power with skill and foresight. Royal succession followed carefully planned dynastic protocols. Every ruler reinforced legitimacy through marriage and alliances. Cultural integration helped ease foreign dominance concerns. Military strength ensured defense against external threats effectively. Borders were guarded with garrisons and fortifications. Cities thrived under secure and protected conditions. Peace allowed governance and prosperity to continue steadily. Administration relied on both Kassite and Babylonian officials, blending cultures' strength and loyalty among diverse populations. Policies balanced tradition with pragmatic governance carefully. Every decree reinforced continuity and stability across empire. Long reigns of rulers fostered continuity and peace. Generations experienced consistent leadership and effective governance. Kassite rule lasted centuries, shaping Babylonian history. Legacy endured even amid political and military challenges. The Kassites respected temples, priests, and culture deeply. Religious institutions remained central to governance and society. Kings supported rituals to maintain divine favor faithfully. Faith and politics intertwined seamlessly under Kassite rule. Trade and agriculture flourished under sustained stability. Economic policies ensured growth, wealth, and urban development. Rivers, canals, and fields were maintained carefully. Every resource contributed to long-term prosperity and influence. Kassite kings commissioned inscriptions to preserve history. Scribes documented achievements, alliances, and royal lineage. Written records reinforced authority and ensured remembrance. History survived through meticulous cuneiform documentation consistently. Integration of Kassite and Babylonian culture enriched society. Language, art, and religion blended across generations. Cultural continuity strengthened unity and identity strongly. Every citizen benefited from a stable and vibrant city. Long-term governance allowed monumental construction projects. Temples, palaces, and fortifications reflected careful planning. Architecture symbolized both divine favor and royal power. Cities flourished as centers of administration and culture. Foreign diplomacy was strengthened under Kassite kings. Alliances ensured security and trade opportunities widely. Babylon became a respected power among neighbors. Influence spread through negotiation, marriage, and reputation carefully. Peaceful conditions fostered arts, science, and education. Schools and libraries preserved knowledge across generations. Scribes, scholars, and priests thrived under stable rule. Cultural legacy became an enduring hallmark of Kassites. Even after decline, Kassite influence remained visible widely. Traditions, laws, and architecture survived subsequent rulers. Their centuries-long reign left an indelible mark clearly. Babylon's identity was shaped deeply by Kassite governance. The Kassite era brought peace across Babylon. Years passed without major internal upheaval consistently. Citizens experienced safety, stability, and predictability daily. Governance ensured order in cities and fields alike. Royal officials enforced laws fairly and efficiently. Courts operated under clear rules and supervision. Disputes were resolved with consistency and care. Every decision reflected stability and societal balance effectively. Borders were guarded with disciplined troops diligently. Fortifications and patrols prevented invasion or rebellion. Peace allowed trade routes to flourish securely. Rivers and roads connected the empire seamlessly. Economy prospered thanks to predictable governance steadily. Farmers, merchants, and craftsmen thrived under protection. Taxes were collected efficiently, supporting infrastructure projects. Stability encouraged population growth and urban expansion successfully. Religion reinforced authority and social cohesion carefully. Temples received support for rituals and festivals regularly. Priests guided moral and spiritual life consistently. Faith and law worked together to maintain harmony. Kassite kings promoted unity among diverse peoples. Policies ensured different cultures coexisted peacefully within Babylon. Diplomacy and administration strengthened loyalty to the crown. Order became the foundation of long-term prosperity clearly. Trade routes across Mesopotamia remained open and thriving. Merchants transported goods safely without fear of attack. Markets flourished with local and imported commodities. Commerce supported cultural, economic, and political stability. Infrastructure projects improved roads, canals, and cities. Irrigation systems ensured abundant harvests each season. Urban centers expanded under careful planning consistently. Every construction project reflected governance and foresight effectively. Officials trained to administer regions efficiently and fairly. Scribes recorded laws, taxes, and agreements accurately. Communication linked the king to distant territories reliably. Bureaucracy maintained order across the vast empire steadily. Education and knowledge flourished under secure governance. Schools, scribes, and libraries thrived across Babylon. Scientific, literary, and cultural pursuits benefited from stability. Peace allowed intellectual and artistic growth steadily. Festivals and civic rituals reinforced social cohesion actively. Public life remained vibrant under predictable leadership carefully. Communities respected kings while enjoying personal freedoms. Harmony became a hallmark of Kassite rule consistently. Military service maintained security without dominating daily life. Troops defended the empire while supporting civic projects. Strength complemented diplomacy, creating long-term regional stability. Peace and preparedness existed hand in hand effectively. Governance emphasized law, religion, and public welfare. Every policy aimed at maintaining harmony and growth. Stability encouraged prosperity for commoners and elites alike. Order became the backbone of Babylonian success widely. The Kassite period set examples for future rulers. Methods of administration, diplomacy, and law endured. Peace allowed culture, trade, and knowledge to thrive. Babylon's identity as a stable power was cemented. Long-lasting peace shaped both daily life and history. Centuries of stability allowed civilization to consolidate power. Kassite governance became a model for neighboring kingdoms. Order, prosperity, and security defined their enduring legacy. Kassite kings invested heavily in temple construction. Ziggurats and shrines rose across Babylonian cities. Religious architecture symbolized power, faith, and unity. Every temple reflected devotion and royal authority carefully. Priests oversaw rituals, guiding daily spiritual life. Festivals celebrated gods, kings, and seasonal cycles. Cultural projects involved art, music, and literature. Community engagement strengthened both society and faith deeply. Monumental gates and walls were decorated elaborately. Sculptures and carvings adorned every sacred space. Artists immortalized deities, kings, and legendary heroes. Visual culture reflected values and societal aspirations clearly. Libraries within temple complexes preserved sacred knowledge. Scribes recorded prayers, rituals, and historical events. Religious and intellectual life intertwined seamlessly together. Education thrived within sacred and administrative spaces efficiently. Urban planning incorporated temples as central features. Every district had access to religious and cultural centers. Community life revolved around worship, education, and art. Cities thrived under balanced spiritual and civic design. Music, poetry, and ceremonial dances were encouraged. Cultural projects included craftsmanship and public performance. Artisans were supported by royal patronage consistently. Creativity and devotion reinforced one another across Babylon. Water features and gardens enhanced temple complexes beautifully. Rivers and canals connected sacred spaces within cities. Environmental planning reflected aesthetic, practical, and spiritual thought. Temples were both functional and symbols of grandeur. Kings commissioned inscriptions to commemorate cultural achievements. Every dedication highlighted devotion, power, and civic pride. Clay tablets recorded projects for posterity and reference. Historical memory was intertwined with spiritual authority firmly. Religious festivals involved citizens of all classes actively. Music, dance, and offerings created communal participation widely. Public involvement reinforced loyalty, cohesion, and cultural identity. Society thrived through shared sacred and artistic experiences. Architecture reflected technological knowledge and engineering skill. Ziggurats stood as testament to innovation and labor. Builders combined mathematical precision with creative vision. Structures inspired and reinforced royal and divine power. Temple expansions fostered learning, education, and scholarship. Schools within sacred complexes trained scribes and priests. Knowledge of astronomy, mathematics, and rituals was preserved. Every project served spiritual, intellectual, and civic purposes. Cultural patronage strengthened the empire's identity consistently. Art, architecture, and literature became expressions of power. Babylon's beauty inspired neighboring lands and emissaries. Legacy of Kassite cultural investment endured across centuries. Urban life flourished alongside temple-centered projects systematically. Markets, roads, and religious spaces functioned harmoniously together. Economic and cultural activity thrived under careful planning. Cultural projects reinforced both identity and stability securely. Temples became symbols of divine favor and governance. Faith, creativity, and political authority were deeply intertwined. Every completed project reflected ambition and foresight clearly. Kassite Babylon emerged as a hub of civilization. Kassite Babylon established ties with distant kingdoms. Ambassadors traveled carrying messages, gifts, and treaties. Diplomacy ensured peace, alliances, and mutual respect. Political influence spread quietly through negotiation and strategy. Royal marriages strengthened bonds with foreign rulers carefully. Dynastic unions created loyalty and secured borders efficiently. Kings used family connections to maintain stability. Alliances were crafted to reinforce Babylonian prominence steadily. Tributary relationships expanded Babylon's sphere of influence. Neighboring states recognized Kassite authority without conflict. Diplomatic channels resolved disputes before wars erupted. Negotiation became a tool for power projection effectively. Envoys reported on politics, trade, and military affairs. Intelligence strengthened decision-making at the royal court. Knowledge of neighboring lands informed strategic planning. Babylonian rulers acted wisely using information and counsel. Trade agreements accompanied diplomatic missions consistently. Goods, resources, and culture flowed along protected routes. Economic ties reinforced political and cultural influence securely. Commerce became a subtle instrument of diplomacy daily. Babylon hosted foreign dignitaries with ceremonial grandeur. Festivals, feasts, and rituals impressed visiting rulers. Hospitality reflected wealth, culture, and sophistication publicly. Cities' prestige grew with every diplomatic exchange carefully. Letters and treaties recorded agreements on clay tablets. Scribes preserved diplomatic arrangements for generations faithfully. Written documents ensured clarity, accountability, and compliance. Knowledge of treaties maintained stability across regions permanently. Military demonstrations complemented diplomatic influence strategically. Troops displayed strength to deter aggression subtly. Power was reinforced without unnecessary conflict or bloodshed. Authority balanced force with careful negotiation wisely. Religious rituals reinforced political alliances effectively. Divine sanction legitimized treaties, gifts, and royal promises. Faith became intertwined with diplomacy and governance visibly. Sacred ceremonies impressed allies and cemented loyalty. Kassite kings maintained prestige through both diplomacy and culture. Cultural achievements impressed emissaries and neighboring cities. Art, literature, and architecture reflected intellectual dominance. Babylon's influence spread through soft power gracefully. Foreign observers marveled at Babylonian order and knowledge. Cities' reputation attracted scholars, traders, and rulers alike. Respect for governance and learning reinforced diplomatic ties. Intellectual and cultural prestige amplified political authority. Peaceful coexistence became a hallmark of Kassite diplomacy. Neighbors preferred negotiation over confrontation for mutual benefit. Babylonian skill in diplomacy ensured decades of stability. Reputation for fairness and wisdom strengthened empires' standing. Tributes, gifts, and ceremonial exchanges reinforced alliances. Royal generosity impressed rulers and citizens alike carefully. Political stability and prestige became intertwined with culture. Every diplomatic act reflected strategy, respect, and foresight. Through diplomacy, Babylon projected soft power effectively. Influence spread not only through war but wisdom. Neighboring kingdoms recognized Kassite supremacy and competence clearly. Babylon became a respected and enduring diplomatic hub. The Kassite Empire faced external threats repeatedly. Invasions and regional conflicts tested Babylon's resilience constantly. Yet stability endured through strong governance and strategy. Peace and order persisted, despite turbulent circumstances steadily. Foreign powers tried to challenge Kassite authority often. Border skirmishes and raids occurred across the empire. Military strength deterred aggression and preserved internal stability. Cities remained secure under disciplined defenses consistently. Natural disasters threatened crops, rivers, and livelihoods occasionally. Irrigation and planning mitigated floods and droughts efficiently. Farmers and citizens continued life under careful supervision. Resilience became a defining trait of Babylonian society. Kassite kings adapted policies to meet new challenges. Diplomacy balanced threats with negotiation and alliances strategically. Flexibility allowed the empire to survive and flourish. Every decision reflected foresight and careful consideration wisely. Cultural projects and temples continued despite hardships. Art, religion, and scholarship were preserved faithfully. Knowledge survived through schools, scribes, and libraries carefully. Civilization endured beyond military or political disruptions steadily. Foreign influence sometimes threatened traditional Babylonian identity. Yet culture, law, and religion remained intact strongly. Adaptation blended external ideas without losing core traditions. Legacy was strengthened through continuity and resilience clearly. Historical records documented both triumphs and struggles faithfully. Clay tablets preserved achievements and warnings for posterity. Every inscription reflected lessons of survival and governance. Knowledge became the empire's lasting shield against time. Military, diplomacy, and infrastructure combined for a lasting stability. Fortifications, patrols, and alliances prevented major collapses effectively. Citizen life continued with minimal disruption or fear. Security reinforced confidence in rulers and institutions consistently. Trade and economy persisted despite external pressures occasionally. Merchants relied on infrastructure and royal protection wisely. Markets and agriculture maintained prosperity throughout challenges. Economic continuity supported society, culture, and governance steadily. Intellectual pursuits continued under Kassite protection carefully. Schools, scribes, and libraries thrived during crises. Science, writing, and culture became tools of resilience. Knowledge ensured survival beyond transient political turmoil. Religious rituals reinforced community cohesion during difficult times. Temples remained centers of spiritual and social stability. Faith helped citizens endure uncertainty and external threats. Shared belief strengthened identity and collective perseverance consistently. Generational continuity preserved traditions, law, and governance. Children learned history, culture, and societal values carefully. Legacy survived because knowledge was protected and passed. Every generation contributed to Babylon's enduring identity. Even after Kassite decline, influence remained visible clearly. Architecture, culture, and law reflected centuries-long achievements. Subsequent rulers inherited foundations laid by the Kassites. Babylon's identity endured beyond individual reigns and crises. Scholarly and cultural traditions outlasted political upheaval effectively. Scribes and schools maintained records for future generations. Knowledge and wisdom became an eternal pillar of society. Legacy survived because intellect and culture were preserved. Babylon remained a beacon of civilization through challenges. Resilience, adaptation, and foresight defined the empire's strength. Even in adversity, society, law, and culture thrived. The Kassite era left an indelible mark permanently. The Assyrian Empire cast a long shadow. Mesopotamia fell under their fierce control quickly. Cities submitted to military might and authority. Powerful kings demanded tribute and loyalty consistently. Assyrian armies were disciplined, ruthless, and efficient. Fortresses, chariots, and soldiers ensured dominance constantly. Neighboring kingdoms feared conquest and intimidation regularly. Every campaign extended Assyria's influence across the region. Assyrian rulers enforced laws with iron precision. Harsh punishment deterred rebellion and unrest effectively. Tributary states were controlled through strategic oversight carefully. Order was maintained through fear, structure, and governance. Babylon, though nearby, felt the Assyrian grip strongly. The city's autonomy was threatened repeatedly over decades. Royal authority was challenged by Assyrian military might. Resistance required courage, diplomacy, and careful calculation. Assyrian kings rebuilt cities to assert dominance visibly. Walls, palaces, and fortifications reflected imperial power. Every architectural project reinforced control and fear subtly. Construction symbolized both submission and Assyrian influence efficiently. Trade and economy were regulated under Assyrian supervision. Merchants paid tribute, and resources flowed to empire. Economic policies strengthened Assyrian control regionally. Commerce became a tool of political authority consistently. Military campaigns kept Babylonian ambitions under strict check. Every revolt or rebellion faced harsh retribution. Assyrian generals commanded obedience through strength and strategy. Cities adapted quickly to survive under imperial rule. Assyrian art, culture, and religion influenced Babylon indirectly. Temples, statues, and inscriptions reflected new dominant aesthetics. Cultural imposition mingled with Babylonian traditions carefully. Identity persisted even under overwhelming foreign influence subtly. Even with dominance, Assyrian kings recognized Babylon's significance. The city's heritage demanded respect and strategic management. Babylon remained a jewel, even under foreign control. Every reconstruction reflected both power and recognition wisely. Political structures were reorganized to ensure compliance consistently. Local officials worked under Assyrian supervision and authority. Administration balanced obedience with cities' historical traditions carefully. Every decree reinforced empire-wide dominance efficiently and subtly. Assyrian dominance shaped the region for a decade steadily. Neighboring lands adjusted to new hierarchy and power. Babylon experienced hardship, but also preservation under control. Empire's shadow influenced politics, culture, and daily life. Despite fear, Babylonian spirit quietly endured internally. Citizens maintained traditions, worship, and cultural identity. Daily life persisted amidst oppression and foreign authority. Heritage remained alive, awaiting opportunity for revival patiently. Assyrian power left a mixed legacy across Mesopotamia. Cities bore scars of conquest and forced compliance. Yet foundations for a future recovery and cultural resurgence remained. History remembered both domination and the seeds of resistance. Babylon refused to bow quietly under oppression. Citizens preserved traditions, law, and civic pride. Cultural identity became a shield against foreign power. Every street and temple echoed enduring defiance silently. Revolts erupted against Assyrian rulers repeatedly. Leaders organized citizens to challenge imperial authority. Bravery and strategy fueled small-scale resistance effectively. Every act symbolized determination to regain autonomy gradually. Priests and scholars reinforced Babylonian cultural identity. Temples became centers of education and communal cohesion. Faith inspired unity amidst political uncertainty constantly. Knowledge and worship nurtured resilience within the population. Local governors sometimes defied imperial orders cautiously. Subtle sabotage and negotiation maintained cities' interests. Diplomacy was used to buy temporary reprieve wisely. Every move reflected clever resistance against overwhelming power. Military defenses were rebuilt and strengthened meticulously. Walls, gates, and fortresses prepared for potential attacks. Citizens trained in basic defense alongside royal forces. Preparedness symbolized the city's determination to survive constantly. Revolts often required coordination across neighborhoods carefully. Leaders communicated secretly to avoid Assyrian detection. Courageous citizens risked lives to maintain freedom. Defiance became an enduring aspect of Babylonian identity. Economy was subtly protected despite external control efficiently. Merchants and farmers continued operations under careful observation. Trade networks maintained wealth and local prosperity slowly. Economic resilience supported both survival and resistance simultaneously. Assyrian kings recognized the city's stubborn spirit. Some rulers rebuilt infrastructure to appease the population. Power was tempered by Babylon's strategic importance clearly. Dominion required negotiation as much as brute force effectively. Every cultural project reinforced independence of thought subtly. Art, literature, and architecture reflected native traditions strongly. Babylonian identity survived even under foreign artistic influence. Heritage became a quiet form of resistance steadily. Citizens passed stories of defiance through generations carefully. Legends of revolt inspired courage and unity silently. Memory of past resistance fueled hope and determination. History became a weapon against foreign domination subtly. Religious rituals emphasized loyalty to Babylonian gods. Priests encouraged citizens to resist cultural assimilation cautiously. Divine protection was believed to sustain the city. Faith strengthened morale and collective resilience consistently. Even small victories uplifted morale within the population. Each act of defiance reminded rulers of resilience. Babylon's stubbornness became legendary across Mesopotamia gradually. Reputation deterred some external interference temporarily and subtly. Written records preserved accounts of resistance carefully. Scribes documented revolts, negotiations, and clever strategies. Knowledge of defiance inspired future generations and rulers. Legacy of courage became part of Babylon's enduring identity. Babylonian resistance demonstrated the city's unwavering spirit. Even under powerful empires, culture and pride persisted. Autonomy was preserved in daily life and rituals. Every citizen played a role in defiance consistently. The city's entrance foreshadowed future rebirth and glory. Resistance ensured Babylon would survive political and military pressures. Cultural and civic identity remained unbroken over decades. Babylon's spirit refused to be silenced or destroyed. Babylonian history is marked by constant upheaval. Revolts erupted to challenge foreign domination repeatedly. Citizens and leaders risked everything for freedom. Every battle reflected determination and collective resilience clearly. Assyrian control faced repeated local opposition quietly. Small-scale revolts tested military and political strength. Defiance was both tactical and symbolic simultaneously. Rebellion became a language of Babylonian identity daily. Leaders coordinated attacks to reclaim lost territories. Strategy, secrecy, and timing defined every uprising carefully. Victory was often temporary, but morale remained high. Each reconquest reinforced hope and civic pride steadily. Political struggles were intertwined with succession disputes constantly. Rival factions sought power during times of chaos. Kings and officials navigated delicate alliances cautiously. Every decision had implications for control and stability. Babylonian cities sometimes rebelled independently of central authority. Neighborhoods, districts, and temples organized local resistance strategically. Unity was fragile but maintained through shared heritage. Community loyalty reinforced resilience against external pressures consistently. Military campaigns reclaimed territory from foreign rulers occasionally. Soldiers and citizens collaborated to fortify and defend cities. Tactical victories inspired confidence and strengthened resolve. Every battle became a symbol of enduring independence. Diplomacy complemented rebellion in reclaiming political influence. Negotiations, alliances, and treaties reshaped regional power. Clever leadership balanced warfare and negotiation effectively. Political acumen often mattered as much as military strength. Assyrian and other foreign forces repeatedly intervened aggressively. Babylonian resilience persisted despite superior military threats. Adaptation and strategy became essential survival tools. Every conflict left scars, but strengthened civic identity steadily. Leadership emerged from both nobility and common citizens. Heroic figures inspired others through courage and initiative. Legends of revolt became integral to Babylonian memory. Stories fueled determination for a future political action consistently. Temples and religious authority played pivotal roles often. Priests mediated disputes and inspired communal resistance subtly. Faith legitimized rebellion and strengthened unity effectively. Divine favor was believed to ensure eventual success. Reconquests restored cultural and civic pride gradually. Rebuilt walls, gates, and temples symbolized recovery clearly. Urban life resumed with renewed energy and purpose. Every reconstruction reflected both resilience and determination fully. Political struggles shaped the evolution of Babylonian governance. Institutions adapted to crises, integrating lessons from conflict. Systems of law and administration evolved through challenges. Civic structure survived despite repeated disruptions and threats. Historians recorded revolts and reconquests on clay tablets. Scribes preserved accounts for future generations meticulously. Knowledge of struggle became part of Babylonian heritage. Memory reinforced identity and cultural continuity over centuries. Even temporary defeats did not break the city's spirit. Each struggle strengthened determination to reclaim autonomy fully. Babylonian entrance became legendary across Mesopotamia gradually. History remembered both suffering and triumph equally vividly. Through revolts and reconquests, Babylon demonstrated unwavering resilience. Political instability tested the city repeatedly yet survived. Every challenge reinforced unity, culture, and civic pride. The city's story became a testament to survival forever. Assyrian kings sought to impose control deliberately. They rebuilt walls, gates, and palaces carefully. Every reconstruction reflected authority and imperial dominance. Cities were reshaped to demonstrate power visibly. Royal inscriptions recorded architectural achievements meticulously. Scribes documented projects for posterity and legitimacy. Every tablet reinforced both authority and historical memory. Knowledge of construction symbolized political and cultural control. Ziggurats and temples were restored under supervision. Faith remained central to governance and diplomacy. Religious structures balanced imperial authority with native traditions. Sacred architecture became both political and spiritual tool. City planning incorporated both security and grandeur effectively. Fortifications strengthened defenses against external threats strategically. Palaces reflected wealth, prestige, and administrative efficiency. Urban development merged function, aesthetics, and power clearly. Assyrian rulers imported artisans and laborers from afar. Skilled workers rebuilt statues, reliefs, and monumental gates. Artistic projects displayed the empire's technological and cultural skill. Every creation demonstrated both obedience and craftsmanship meticulously. Reconstruction aimed to win loyalty from local populations. Projects employed citizens, scholars, and craftsmen consistently. Economic stimulus accompanied architectural and civic improvement programs. Urban renewal reinforced dependence on imperial administration subtly. Assyrian kings reshaped cultural and religious spaces cautiously. Integration of local and foreign practices maintained stability. Temples honored gods while asserting imperial influence. Cultural synthesis reflected political pragmatism and power. Infrastructure projects revitalized roads, canals, and marketplaces. Trade, irrigation, and urban planning supported civic life. Economic recovery complemented architectural and administrative projects. Prosperity was tied to rebuilding and effective governance steadily. Every project was accompanied by inscriptions and dedications. Royal authority was immortalized through stone and cuneiform. Histories of rebuilding reinforced legitimacy and public memory. Records documented Assyria's role in Babylonian resurgence carefully. Reconstruction projects sometimes sparked tension with locals quietly. Citizens resisted subtle cultural imposition strategically. Negotiation and compromise balanced imperial vision and tradition. Harmony depended on respect, authority, and careful diplomacy. Assyrian kings showcased military might through architecture clearly. Massive gates and walls impressed both citizens and visitors. Monuments symbolized strength, order, and enduring presence visibly. Every structure reflected both fear and admiration simultaneously. Scholars and scribes were involved in urban renewal. Knowledge of measurement, mathematics, and writing guided projects. Science, art, and administration intertwined in reconstruction efforts. Every tablet and project demonstrated learned expertise precisely. Rebuilt temples hosted rituals to consolidate legitimacy effectively. Priests legitimized rulers through ceremonies and sacred authority. Religion became intertwined with political and architectural achievement. Sacred spaces reinforced obedience, devotion, and cultural continuity. Even under foreign rule, Babylonian culture persisted subtly. Local traditions survived amidst Assyrian architectural changes. Rebuilding strengthened both imperial control and city identity. The city's spirit endured, despite imposed transformations consistently. Assyrian reshaping left a lasting mark on Babylon. Urban and cultural changes influenced future rulers subtly. City remained vibrant, historically significant, and strategically essential. Legacy of rebuilding combined power, culture, and resilience visibly. Babylon's spirit survived countless invasions and hardships. Citizens rebuilt, resisted, and preserved culture fiercely. Every generation carried forward memory and resilience. The city's heartbeat remained strong despite turmoil constantly. Walls and gates were reconstructed repeatedly over centuries. Stone and brick bore witness to human determination. Every collapse sparked renewed effort and restoration. Cities rose from ruins through courage and skill consistently. Temples remained centers of faith and education. Priests guided citizens through rituals and traditions. Sacred spaces inspired unity and collective perseverance. Religion became both refuge and symbol of identity. Even when foreign powers claimed political authority, Babylon retained pride, culture, and civic identity. Local traditions continued quietly under imperial rule. Heritage became a quiet act of resistance constantly. Trade and commerce persisted despite political instability. Merchants adapted, transported goods, and maintained networks. Economic activity reinforced resilience and urban vitality. Prosperity endured alongside culture and community cohesion steadily. Art, literature, and scholarship thrived intermittently over centuries. Scribes preserved stories, science, and historical memory. Knowledge was copied, studied, and passed forward carefully. Learning became a shield against cultural erasure consistently. Leaders emerged from both nobility and common citizens. Vision, courage, and strategy guided every restoration effort. Political acumen shaped the city's survival repeatedly. Strong leadership intertwined with collective determination clearly. Babylonian architecture symbolized both history and endurance. Ziggurats, gates, and palaces rose after destruction. Monuments reflected pride, innovation, and cultural identity. Every stone carried memory of survival and legacy. Military defense protected citizens, culture, and infrastructure. Walls, fortresses, and patrols ensured minimal disruption. Preparedness allowed daily life to continue despite threats. Resilience became embedded in Babylonian civic life permanently. Cultural rituals reinforced social cohesion and morale. Festivals, offerings, and ceremonies united communities effectively. Shared faith strengthened identity amidst political uncertainty. Every act of devotion preserved the city's spirit faithfully. Stories of revolt and recovery inspired new generations. Memory of perseverance became integral to civic identity. Legends encouraged courage, unity, and loyalty consistently. Heritage became both shield and guide for survival. Even temporary occupation could not erase Babylonian legacy. Citizens adapted while preserving customs, law, and faith. Every change reinforced determination to maintain identity. Persistence defined the city's enduring reputation across ages. Environmental and infrastructural adaptation supported survival strategies. Canals, irrigation, and urban planning sustained population effectively. Innovation balanced tradition with practical needs carefully. Civic life thrived through resilience and intelligent adaptation. Babylon's cultural influence extended beyond political control. Neighboring regions admired learning, art, and tradition. Even conquerors were influenced by the city's heritage. Knowledge and creativity ensured enduring regional prominence consistently. The city's identity persisted through triumph and tragedy. Every challenge strengthened collective memory and pride. Babylon remained a beacon of civilization and resilience. Its refusal to die became its greatest legacy permanently. Nabopolassar rose as a determined leader fiercely. He challenged Assyrian dominance with careful strategy. Allies joined his cause to reclaim independence. Babylon's citizens rallied behind him with hope. Military campaigns struck at key Assyrian strongholds. Troops marched with precision across Mesopotamian plains. Every victory reinforced morale and momentum steadily. Rebellion became coordinated, disciplined, and unstoppable carefully. The Assyrian Empire weakened under internal conflicts simultaneously. Nabopolassar exploited divisions and gained crucial support. Political insight guided both battle and negotiation effectively. Victory was both military and strategic for Babylon. City walls and gates were reclaimed triumphantly. Assyrian garrisons were expelled from the urban center. The populace celebrated freedom, their decades of oppression. Joy and relief filled streets and marketplaces repeatedly. Nabopolassar restored native leadership and administration quickly. Loyal officials ensured law, order, and stability. Temples reopened under Babylonian priests' supervision carefully. Faith and civic pride were revitalized through governance. Reconstruction projects began to repair war damage slowly. Palaces, walls, and public spaces were rebuilt fully. Citizens contributed to recovery, strengthening communal bonds. Every restoration reflected resilience and civic determination clearly. Diplomacy secured alliances against potential Assyrian counterattacks. Neighboring powers respected Babylon's resurgence cautiously. Treaties and negotiations reinforced independence diplomatically. Political acumen matched military prowess throughout campaigns consistently. Nabopolassar celebrated Babylonian identity and heritage openly. Cultural revival accompanied military and administrative success. Art, literature, and scholarship flourished alongside newfound freedom. The city's legacy was being reborn with pride steadily. Assyrian occupation left scars, but knowledge survived carefully. Historians, scribes, and citizens preserved collective memory. Past lessons informed governance and strategy for the future. Experience strengthened both leadership and civic resilience permanently. Every step reinforced Babylonian sovereignty decisively and carefully. Military strength, diplomacy, and civic order combined effectively. Freedom became both symbol and practical reality for citizens. Nabopolassar secured a foundation for a new empire. The Neo-Babylonian Empire began with legitimacy and promise. Stability allowed trade, learning, and cultural achievements to thrive. Citizens embraced a new era of pride and growth. Hope defined every street, temple, and palace proudly. Rebuilding strengthened both morale and practical infrastructure steadily. Markets, roads, and irrigation networks were restored carefully. Economic recovery ensured prosperity alongside cultural resurgence effectively. Urban life flourished under visionary leadership and governance consistently. Nabopolassar's liberation marked the start of Babylon's golden era. Victory over Assyria secured independence and regional influence. Cultural, political, and military resurgence defined the city. Babylon's destiny shifted toward greatness permanently and proudly. Nebuchadnezzar II ascended with unmatched ambition confidently. He aimed to expand and strengthen the empire. Military strategy and diplomacy guided his every decision. Citizens looked to him for security and prosperity. He reinforced city walls and urban defenses meticulously. Palaces and fortresses reflected both power and vision. Every construction project symbolized authority and grandeur clearly. Architecture became a tool of governance and/or effectively. Nebuchadnezzar's campaigns extended Babylonian influence, reinforced city walls and urban defenses meticulously. Palaces and fortresses reflected both power and vision. Every construction project symbolized authority and grandeur clearly. Architecture became a tool of governance and/or effectively. Religious devotion reinforced his authority publicly and consistently. Temples were restored, rituals promoted, and festivals celebrated. Faith became intertwined with political legitimacy naturally. Priests supported royal authority and civic stability effectively. Cultural revival flourished under his visionary leadership strategically. Art, literature, and scholarship received royal patronage generously. Scribes recorded events, achievements, and innovations accurately. Intellectual pursuits cemented Babylon's status as a cultural hub. Nebuchadnezzar commissioned monumental architecture across the city. Ziggurats, gates, and palaces dominated the skyline impressively. Stone and brick reflected both skill and ambition. Every project symbolized the empire's enduring glory visibly. He maintained effective governance through administrative organization efficiently. Officials supervised taxation, trade, and legal affairs carefully. Bureaucracy balanced central authority with local autonomy gradually. Policies ensured stability and prosperity across vast territories. Economic prosperity accompanied military and cultural achievements consistently. Trade routes were secured, markets expanded, and resources flourished. Wealth supported construction, education, and civic projects steadily. Babylon became a thriving metropolis under his guidance fully. His military campaigns secured borderlands and suppressed rebellions. Tactics combined precision, discipline, and strategic planning efficiently. Every victory reinforced empire's strength and influence visibly. Neighboring powers recognized his supremacy and authority clearly. Nebuchadnezzar strengthened Babylon's international prestige substantially. Diplomatic alliances ensured both security and trade opportunities. Ambassadors carried gifts, treaties, and messages of respect. City's reputation as a power center grew rapidly. Education and knowledge thrived under royal encouragement carefully. Schools, scribes, and libraries preserved history and wisdom. Astronomy, mathematics, and literature reached unprecedented heights. Intellectual advancement became a hallmark of his reign prominently. He improved infrastructure, canals, and urban planning extensively. Irrigation ensured abundant harvests for growing populations. Roads and bridges connected cities and trade networks effectively. Every project reinforced both economic and civic stability clearly. Nebuchadnezzar's reign symbolized Babylonian resurgence and pride fully. Citizens experienced security, prosperity, and cultural enrichment simultaneously. His vision transformed Babylon into a dominant empire permanently. Legacy of leadership, architecture, and culture endured for centuries. Even centuries later, his name inspired awe universally. Monuments, texts, and traditions preserved his accomplishments faithfully. Nebuchadnezzar became synonymous with power and vision. Babylon reached its peak, unrivaled in history and grandeur. Nebuchadnezzar extended Babylon's reach across the region. Neighboring kingdoms were brought under imperial influence swiftly. Military campaigns secured trade routes and fertile lands. Every conquest reinforced Babylon's power and authority clearly. Assyrian remnants were subdued to prevent resurgence entirely. Borders were fortified to deter foreign invasions carefully. Troops were stationed strategically across key territories consistently. Security ensured both political stability and economic growth fully. Phoenician cities and Levantine trade hubs were integrated. Alliances and tribute ensured their cooperation willingly. Babylonian merchants and artisans gained access widely. Economic expansion accompanied territorial and military achievements steadily. The empire controlled vital resources across the Middle East. Grain, timber, and metals flowed into Babylon regularly. Tributes and taxes supported both infrastructure and culture effectively. Wealth from expansion funded monumental architecture and civic projects. Diplomacy complemented military conquest in securing influence. Ambassadors negotiated alliances and mediated disputes prudently. Treaties maintained peace while demonstrating Babylonian supremacy clearly. Strategic marriages reinforced loyalty across distant lands carefully. Sieges were conducted with discipline, technology, and strategy. Armies used intelligence to capture key cities effectively. Victory was decisive yet often incorporated diplomacy afterward. Every campaign reflected careful planning and imperial ambition. Cultural integration accompanied territorial expansion subtly and skillfully. Local customs and traditions were respected to maintain peace. Temples and cities retained identity under Babylonian administration. Assimilation strengthened loyalty while promoting imperial cohesion clearly. Trade flourished along secured routes connecting the empire. Merchants transported goods, ideas, and innovations consistently. Economic networks strengthened Babylon's influence far beyond borders. Prosperity became a tool for political and cultural dominance. Urban centers across the region benefited from Babylonian oversight. Infrastructure, irrigation, and administration improved local prosperity gradually. Cities were incorporated into imperial culture and governance smoothly. Expansion fostered both control and regional development simultaneously. Military garrisons maintained order and deterrence effectively. Soldiers stationed across provinces ensured loyalty and security. Strategic fortresses anchored Babylonian influence geographically clearly. Every outpost projected power and stability subtly and steadily. Knowledge and scholarship spread across the empire intentionally. Schools, libraries, and scribes promoted Babylonian learning consistently. Astronomy, mathematics, and literature influenced distant cities profoundly. Cultural expansion reinforced political and intellectual hegemony steadily. Revolts were suppressed decisively, but with strategic diplomacy. Resistance was managed to prevent instability across territories. Balance of force and negotiation maintained empire's cohesion clearly. Leadership combined military might with political foresight successfully. Religious authority strengthened control across expanded regions effectively. Priests legitimized kings and inspired local compliance consistently. Temples became centers of worship and civic influence. Faith reinforced imperial stability and cultural identity simultaneously. Economic prosperity, cultural influence, and military strength intertwined. Expansion ensured Babylon's prominence in the ancient world. Nebuchadnezzar's vision unified diverse lands under central authority. The empire reached unprecedented size and prestige steadily. By controlling the Middle East, Babylon became dominant regionally. Cities, trade, and culture reflected imperial power extensively. Every conquest and alliance reinforced Nebuchadnezzar's legacy permanently. Expansion marked the golden age of Neo-Babylonian civilization. Legend tells of gardens suspended in air. Nebuchadnezzar built wonders to honor his queen. Terraces rose above the city's bustling streets. Every level overflowed with greenery and life gracefully. Exotic plants from distant lands were brought. Fruits, flowers, and trees adorned stone terraces beautifully. Irrigation systems channeled water to nourish every leaf. Ingenious engineering made the impossible seem natural. The hanging gardens became a symbol of love. Royal devotion inspired one of history's greatest marvels. Architecture intertwined with nature in perfect harmony. Every corner displayed artistic and botanical mastery carefully. Visitors marveled at cascading waterfalls and vibrant colors. Terraces echoed with birdsong and rustling leaves peacefully. A paradise existed above Babylon's bustling streets. The city below reflected awe and inspiration constantly. Engineers and laborers worked tirelessly to maintain gardens. Water was lifted using pumps and complex mechanisms. Hydraulic innovation ensured survival of plants and flowers. Every detail reflected ingenuity, skill, and dedication meticulously. Garden terraces featured fragrant blooms from all regions. Perfumes mingled with the scent of ripening fruits. Colorful petals softened the harsh cityscape below. Nature's beauty coexisted with Babylonian architecture gracefully. The hanging gardens became a source of cultural pride. Legends spread throughout Mesopotamia and beyond quickly. Scholars and travelers recorded stories of this wonder. Babylonian innovation inspired imagination across generations repeatedly. Poets described the gardens in vivid, enchanted imagery. Songs celebrated the king's devotion and architectural genius. Art and literature immortalized the beauty of terraces. Creativity became intertwined with history, myth, and legacy. Though debated by historians, the legend endured powerfully. Accounts describe terraces, waterfalls, and lush greenery extensively. Even without physical evidence, stories inspired awe universally. Memory of wonder shaped Babylon's cultural identity permanently. The hanging gardens showcased human ambition and engineering skill. Every stone, plant, and channel reflected careful planning. Royal vision transformed imagination into tangible beauty effortlessly. Innovation, love, and artistry converged above the city. Citizens and visitors alike felt enchantment daily. Terraces became a meeting place of nature and architecture. Bridges, walkways, and staircases connected every lush level. Gardens offered respite from the arid Mesopotamian climate. Legends of the hanging gardens inspired later civilizations. Greeks, Romans, and Persians admired Babylon's creativity widely. Stories passed through generations, shaping imagination and wonder. Cultural memory preserved an eternal vision of beauty. Even today, the gardens symbolize human ingenuity and devotion. They remain a testament to love, art, and power. Babylon's golden age is immortalized through these stories. The Hanging Gardens became timeless, transcending history and myth. Babylon flourished as a city of wonders. Streets bustled with merchants, scholars, and citizens. Markets overflowed with goods from distant lands. Commerce connected Babylon to the ancient world efficiently. Canals and irrigation nourished farmland and gardens continuously. Waterways enabled trade, agriculture, and urban growth simultaneously. Engineering feats showcased practical innovation across the city. Hydraulic systems reflected intelligence, foresight, and civic planning. Monuments, gates, and walls demonstrated architectural mastery. Ziggurats towered over neighborhoods with divine symbolism. Palaces displayed wealth, power, and refined craftsmanship. Every stone reflected ambition, skill, and vision clearly. Education and scholarship thrived under royal patronage steadily. Scribes, astronomers, and mathematicians preserved knowledge meticulously. Schools nurtured the next generation of intellectual leaders. Learning became a hallmark of Babylonian civilization permanently. Religion integrated seamlessly into civic and daily life. Temples and rituals reinforced societal cohesion and belief. Faith influenced art, law, and urban planning consistently. Spirituality was a cornerstone of public and private life. Trade networks extended across Mesopotamia and beyond effectively. Merchants traveled to Egypt, Persia, and the Levant. Exotic goods enriched the city and inspired culture. Commerce fueled both economic prosperity and social influence gradually. Art and literature reflected refinement, tradition, and creativity. Poets and artisans captured history and daily life vividly. Murals, reliefs, and sculptures adorned palaces and temples. Cultural production reinforced Babylon's reputation as an intellectual hub. Public spaces were designed for both function and beauty. Squares, gardens, and streets were planned meticulously. Urban design enhanced movement, commerce, and civic interaction. Every improvement reflected forward thinking and practical ingenuity subtly. Military infrastructure ensured security across Babylon's expanding territory. Fortifications and garrisons protected citizens and resources effectively. Every defense structure balanced strength with architectural beauty. Strategic planning preserved safety without stifling city life. Astronomy, mathematics, and science reached unprecedented sophistication. Calendars, star charts, and calculations guided agriculture precisely. Observatories and studies advanced both knowledge and culture. Intellectual pursuit became a defining trait of Babylon permanently. Legal systems were codified and enforced consistently. Laws regulated trade, property, and social interaction carefully. Justice reinforced order, stability, and civic trust effectively. Governance combined fairness, authority, and administrative skill seamlessly. Infrastructure supported both population growth and civic pride. Roads, bridges, and canals connected every part efficiently. Utilities and public works reflected advanced urban planning. Engineering was a daily reminder of Babylonian sophistication clearly. Festivals, celebrations, and public gatherings unified the city. Music, dance, and ritual created shared cultural identity. Civic life was vibrant, diverse, and deeply structured. Every tradition strengthened community and reinforced belonging permanently. Innovation blended tradition with experimentation creatively. Artisans and engineers pushed boundaries of form and function. Every project reflected ambition, skill, and human ingenuity. Babylon became a laboratory of civilization, learning, and design. By Nebuchadnezzar's reign, Babylon was unmatched globally. The city combined culture, technology, and strategic vision. It became the shining jewel of the ancient world. Advanced knowledge, beauty, and governance defined its golden age. The Ishtar Gate gleamed with deep blue tiles. Lions, dragons, and bulls adorned every wall. Ceramic reliefs reflected artistry, symbolism, and power. Every creature represented divine authority and protection clearly. Processions passed beneath its massive, imposing arch. Glazed bricks shimmered in sunlight, or inspiring daily. Citizens and visitors marveled at the craftsmanship vividly. Royal power and religion merged in architectural splendor. The gate symbolized Babylon's strength and cultural identity. Blue, gold, and intricate designs dazzled the eyes. Every brick told stories of kings, gods, and history. Legends of the gate spread across Mesopotamia widely. Artisans worked tirelessly to create lasting beauty carefully. Tiles were shaped, glazed, and fired with precision. Every detail reflected technical skill and creative vision. Construction required innovation, dedication, and coordination meticulously. The gate framed entry to sacred inner city. It separated commoners from ceremonial spaces effectively. Processions, rituals, and festivals highlighted its significance. Structure reinforced authority visually and symbolically simultaneously. Royal inscriptions documented the gate's creation meticulously. Scribes recorded artisans, materials, and methods faithfully. Knowledge was preserved for future rulers and historians. Historical memory ensured craftsmanship and glory were remembered fully. Symbolism of animals carried spiritual meaning subtly. Lions represented Ishtar's power. Dragons signified protection clearly. Every depiction reinforced divine support for kingship. Religious and political authority intertwined in architecture seamlessly. Visitors approached with reverence and admiration constantly. Gate-inspired or unreinforced Babylonian prestige repeatedly. Foreign emissaries recorded its splendor in written accounts. It became a symbol of empire-wide cultural achievement. Even centuries later, the Ishtar Gate inspired builders. Architectural innovation influenced Persians, Greeks, and later civilizations. Its image was immortalized through art and literature. Legacy endured despite the city's eventual decline steadily. The gate was part of broader ceremonial architecture. Walls, towers, and streets complemented its visual grandeur. Urban planning highlighted symmetry, procession, and religious alignment. Every design choice served civic, spiritual, and political purposes. Maintenance required skilled artisans and continuous oversight. Tiles were repaired, polished, and protected from decay. Preserving beauty reflected both pride and practical governance. City pride was reinforced through ongoing architectural care. The Ishtar Gate's blue glow marked the horizon. Its presence dominated the skyline and inspired awe. Every traveler entering Babylon experienced majesty and grandeur. Power and art merged in visible, unforgettable form. It symbolized both entrance and transition into sacred spaces. Citizens knew it as gateway to gods and kings. Every detail reinforced imperial message of control and protection. Architecture conveyed authority more powerfully than words alone. Even today, its remnants continue to fascinate scholars. Reconstruction efforts preserve its artistic and historical significance. The Ishtar Gate remains a testament to Babylonian genius. Its blue-glazed glory immortalizes the empire's enduring legacy. The processional street stretched through Babylon's heart. Ceremonies and parades moved beneath towering walls gracefully. Crowds gathered to witness royal and religious splendor. Every brick and relief reflected civic pride vividly. Lions and dragons lined the sacred pathway carefully. Glazed tiles shimmered under the Mesopotamian sun brilliantly. Every detail conveyed power, divinity, and artistic skill. Processions became moving expressions of imperial authority visibly. Temples dominated the cityscape with monumental grandeur. Ziggurats rose high, connecting earth and divine realms. Sacred spaces hosted rituals, offerings, and communal worship. Every temple reflected devotion, culture, and political significance. Priests guided citizens through elaborate ceremonial practices. Rituals reinforced social cohesion and spiritual hierarchy consistently. Religion intertwined with governance, law, and civic life. Sacred ceremonies legitimized kings and civic institutions permanently. The street connected key religious and administrative centers. Palaces, temples, and marketplaces aligned with precision carefully. Urban design reflected both function and aesthetic purpose. Every element enhanced movement, visibility, and ceremonial impact effectively. Festival days transformed a street into living spectacle. Music, dance, and offerings filled the avenue repeatedly. Citizens and visitors shared in pageantry and devotion. Processions celebrated gods, kings, and Babylonian identity daily. Sculptures, reliefs, and inscriptions adorned every wall. Stories of victories, gods, and myths were depicted vividly. Art immortalized both historical events and spiritual ideals. Cultural memory was encoded into every stone and relief. Marketplaces and public spaces flanked the ceremonial route. Merchants displayed goods from across the empire consistently. Commerce thrived alongside religious and royal activities seamlessly. Economic life intertwined naturally with spiritual and civic functions. Water features and gardens enhanced the street's grandeur. Fountains, pools, and trees provided relief and beauty. Nature complemented architecture, creating harmony and inspiration. Every sensory detail enhanced civic and religious experience fully. Lighting and torches illuminated festivals and nightly ceremonies. Shadows played across reliefs, emphasizing depth and artistry. Evenings became celebrations of power, devotion, and culture. The city came alive with grandeur and spectacle repeatedly. Temples housed scribes, scholars, and artisans constantly. Knowledge, ritual, and administration converged within sacred walls. Learning, governance, and faith supported Babylon's civic life. Every temple reflected intellectual, spiritual, and political integration. Construction required careful planning, labor, and resources meticulously. Kings commissioned projects to display authority and devotion. Craftsmen labored to maintain architectural and artistic integrity. Urban beauty reflected both imperial vision and human skill. The processional street linked Babylon's spiritual and civic identity. Every festival, ceremony, and celebration reinforced collective memory. Rituals honored gods, while legitimizing royal authority clearly. Public space became stage for religion, culture, and power. Even centuries later, the street inspired awe universally. Historians and archaeologists studied its layout and function. Remnants reveal ancient engineering, art, and urban planning. Its legacy preserved the grandeur of Babylonian civilization vividly. The processional streets and temples reflected city's greatness. Every stone, relief, and ziggurat symbolized empire's power. Babylon's architecture blended devotion, politics, and artistic vision. Monumental spaces immortalized culture, faith, and human ambition. The Tower of Babel loomed over ancient Babylon. Legends speak of ambition reaching toward the heavens. Massive bricks rose layer by layer meticulously. Every level reflected human ingenuity and divine aspiration. Construction symbolized both religious devotion and royal power. Kings sought to impress gods and inspire subjects. Ziggurat terraces climbed skyward, blending function with faith. Architecture intertwined ambition, piety, and civic pride seamlessly. Laborers worked tirelessly under harsh Mesopotamian sun. Brick by brick, the tower grew steadily. Waterways and ramps carried materials to higher levels. Every effort reflected skill, coordination, and perseverance carefully. Religious ceremonies marked the tower's significance frequently. Priests oversaw rituals to honor gods and kings. Faith legitimized construction and inspired collective effort. Sacred purpose motivated labor beyond mere architecture. Legends claim humanity's pride angered the gods. Language was confounded, scattering people across the earth. Story became a cautionary tale of hubris and ambition. Myth intertwined with historical memory and cultural imagination vividly. The tower likely served practical religious purposes realistically. Ziggurats elevated temples closer to gods symbolically. Height symbolized authority, connection, and spiritual devotion clearly. Function complemented spectacle and city planning simultaneously. Trade, labor, and resources fueled monumental construction efficiently. Every brick reflected material, organization, and technical knowledge. Engineering innovations supported weight, stability, and height reliably. Ancient builders mastered techniques that amazed future civilizations. Nebuchadnezzar and predecessors reinforced ziggurats as civic icons. Urban skyline emphasized religious, political, and social order. Tower commanded attention from residents and visitors alike. Monumental architecture symbolized empire's strength and divine favor. Stories of Babel spread across the ancient world. Hebrew, Greek, and later traditions preserved its legend. Tales warned of ambition, unchecked by humility and balance. Cultural memory merged history, morality, and imagination vividly. Archaeologists debate its height, design, and exact location. Evidence suggests stepped terraces and ceremonial platforms likely. Brick inscriptions hint at builders' names and purpose. Legacy survives through mythology, texts, and imagination continually. Even if partially destroyed, its memory endured powerfully. Tower inspired awe, legend, and architectural aspiration universally. Future ziggurats and monumental towers drew inspiration subtly. Human ambition and creativity were immortalized through its story. Religious, political, and civic functions intertwined at every level. Temples, altars, and ceremonial spaces occupied upper terraces. Common citizens observed rituals from surrounding streets below. Architecture shaped social hierarchy, faith, and governance effectively. Tower of Babel represents ambition, ingenuity, and caution. Every brick tells stories of human aspiration vividly. History blends with myth to preserve its enduring lesson. Civilization remembers both achievement and warning across centuries. Babylon was meticulously designed for both function and beauty. Streets ran straight, connecting gates, temples, and markets efficiently. City planning balanced civic life, defense, and aesthetics carefully. Every pathway reflected foresight, strategy, and urban intelligence clearly. Canals and waterways crisscrossed the city for irrigation. Water supply supported agriculture, gardens, and daily needs reliably. Hydraulic engineering demonstrated innovation and practical brilliance consistently. Life depended on carefully planned water management systems fully. Residential quarters were arranged for social and practical purposes. Homes clustered near markets, temples, and civic spaces thoughtfully. Neighborhoods fostered community while maintaining order and accessibility. Urban layout encouraged interaction, trade, and safety simultaneously. Fortifications and walls protected citizens from external threats. Gates controlled entry and ceremonial movement precisely. Military strategy influenced both layout and architectural design effectively. Safety was integrated seamlessly into everyday urban planning naturally. Public squares hosted trade, ceremonies, and social gatherings. Open spaces allowed festivals, rituals, and civic events vividly. Plazas reflected cultural and economic life simultaneously. Every square encouraged community cohesion and shared identity consistently. Markets thrived along well-planned commercial streets effectively. Merchants displayed goods from Mesopotamia and distant regions. Trade routes connected neighborhoods, temples, and administrative centers. Economic prosperity reinforced urban planning and social structure reliably. Ziggurats and temples were central landmarks strategically placed. Religious structures guided spatial, organization, and visual hierarchy. Sacred and civic spaces coexisted in harmonious design elegantly. Urban planning reflected culture, spirituality, and power simultaneously. Royal palaces dominated strategic points within the city. Architecture displayed authority while integrating administrative function effectively. Strategic placement reinforced control and visibility for the king. Every design decision conveyed prestige, power, and planning clearly. Roads and bridges ensured efficient movement across districts. Connectivity enhanced commerce, military, and civic activities consistently. Urban infrastructure reflected advanced understanding of mobility and access. Every pathway combined practicality, aesthetics, and civic purpose. Gardens, courtyards, and open spaces softened the urban environment. Green areas improved quality of life and visual appeal. Nature was incorporated thoughtfully into dense city structures. Urban planning blended comfort, functionality, and beauty harmoniously. Stormwater drainage and sewage systems reflected engineering sophistication. Maintenance ensured public health and sustained city growth effectively. Plumbing innovation allowed sanitation across a densely populated city. Practicality and foresight guided every civil engineering project efficiently. Ceremonial streets linked gates, temples, and royal palaces. Processions moved with grandeur, reflecting religious and political order. Urban design emphasized hierarchy, visibility, and civic function naturally. City layout reinforced social structure, religion, and governance clearly. Strategic observation points allowed surveillance and defense efficiently. Rulers monitored trade, security, and civic activity carefully. Integration of oversight into planning ensured long-term stability. Urban intelligence combined practicality, control, and foresight seamlessly. Even centuries later, scholars admired Babylon's urban genius. Remnants reveal insight, planning, and architectural sophistication vividly. City design influenced later civilizations and urban thinkers significantly. Babylon remains a model of advanced ancient city planning permanently. Babylon's skyline rose majestically above Mesopotamia. Ziggurats, gates, and palaces dominated the horizon beautifully. Every building reflected ambition, culture, and divine aspiration. Architecture merged utility, art, and spiritual symbolism seamlessly. The Tower of Babel loomed high, inspiring awe. Terraces climbed skyward, blending myth and reality vividly. Legendary heights symbolized ambition, devotion, and royal power. Every layer reflected human skill and imagination carefully. Ishtar Gate glowed with blue-glazed brilliance daily. Processions passed beneath lions and dragons carved meticulously. Citizens and visitors marveled at its majesty constantly. Power and divinity merged in visible architectural glory. Palaces rose above streets, asserting authority and prestige. Royal chambers showcased wealth, art, and administrative power. Every palace dominated nearby neighborhoods with elegance consistently. Architecture communicated status, ambition, and governance effectively. Ziggurats punctuated the skyline as sacred landmarks. Sacred terraces connected citizens to gods metaphorically. Religious devotion shaped visual dominance and urban identity. Every ziggurat reflected both faith and engineering prowess clearly. Temples and shrines contributed to the city's grandeur. Rituals, festivals, and deity worship activated sacred spaces. Skyline became both visual and spiritual guide for citizens. Every temple enhanced Babylon's symbolic and cultural presence effectively. Walls and fortifications outlined the city's impressive perimeter. Gates punctuated boundaries, combining defense with ceremonial function. Architecture communicated strength, security, and urban sophistication simultaneously. Every defensive structure reflected planning, design, and vision meticulo. Processional street-connected gates, temples, and palaces impressively. Ceremonial avenues guided citizens through civic and spiritual spaces. The urban layout emphasized hierarchy, movement, and visual drama. Skyline was not only functional, but symbolic profoundly. Gardens and courtyards softened monumental architecture gracefully. Green terraces contrasted stone, providing beauty and respite. Nature intertwined with architecture, enhancing visual and civic appeal. Every lush area reflected aesthetic and environmental foresight carefully. Bridges and canals added rhythm and connectivity to skyline. Waterways mirrored buildings, amplifying grandeur and perspective beautifully. Engineering reinforced both function and visual spectacle elegantly. Skyline reflected human ingenuity across multiple dimensions consistently. Nighttime illuminated the city with torches and fires. Shadows danced across walls, gates, and monumental terraces. Glow enhanced drama and magnificence for inhabitants and visitors. Even darkness highlighted Babylon's architectural splendor memorably. Foreign visitors marveled at Babylon's urban and visual mastery. Artists, scholars, and travelers recorded impressions and stories vividly. Imagination was captured through both myth and observation. Skyline became an enduring symbol of creativity and power. Even centuries later, Babylon's silhouette inspired legends. Ancient imagination preserved its monuments in cultural memory. Stories of grandeur, ambition, and divine favor persisted widely. Skyline symbolized civilization, ingenuity, and enduring human aspiration permanently. Babylon's skyline was both functional and poetic simultaneously. Every ziggurat, gate, and palace narrated history visually. Architecture embodied culture, power, and imagination simultaneously. The city's horizon captured the awe of the ancient world fully. Babylon faced growing internal turmoil and unrest. Factions and nobles competed for power constantly. Civilian dissatisfaction spread through markets and neighborhoods. Every rebellion chipped away at central authority steadily. Economic struggles fueled social tensions across the city. Crop failures and taxation angered farmers and citizens. Trade declined, markets lost vibrancy, and wealth stagnated. Urban life became strained, anxious, and uncertain daily. Rivalries within the royal court intensified instability significantly. Power struggles distracted kings from external threats effectively. Officials plotted against each other to secure influence strategically. Internal chaos weakened Babylon's defenses and governance severely. Religious authorities clashed over rituals and priestly privileges. Divisions between temples created social and political fractures. Faith, once unifying, became a source of tension subtly. Spiritual authority could not fully stabilize civic unrest consistently. Borderlands rebelled as central control weakened gradually. Governors and satraps challenged imperial decrees regularly. Peripheral regions threatened separation from Babylonian administration frequently. Every revolt further eroded empire's cohesion and stability. Military discipline declined under political infighting and mistrust. Armies struggled to respond to internal and external threats. Troops were demoralized and poorly coordinated effectively. City security faltered, leaving Babylon vulnerable and exposed. Cultural pride could not fully mask political decay. Scholars and artisans continued work, but morale suffered. Tradition persisted amid uncertainty and fragmented leadership daily. Legacy of greatness endured, but empire's strength waned steadily. Natural disasters and disease compounded societal strain quietly. Famine and illness weakened population and productivity severely. Social unrest spread as resources became scarce rapidly. Every challenge intensified the fragility of the empire clearly. Public trust in leadership eroded gradually over decades. Citizens questioned royal authority and administrative competence openly. Confidence in governance fell, fueling rumors and dissent consistently. Internal strife undermined both faith and civic loyalty completely. Cultural achievements continued, but political power declined noticeably. Monuments and temples stood, yet governance faltered slowly. Babylon's glory persisted in memory, not in control entirely. The empire's strength diminished from within inexorably and quietly. Internal unrest set the stage for foreign conquest effectively. Weakened defenses, divided leaders, and disgruntled citizens allowed opportunity. Every faction's ambition unintentionally paved the way for outsiders. Babylon's vulnerability became a historical turning point decisively. Civil disorder signaled the end of independent rule subtly. Empires rise and fall through human ambition and weakness. Babylon's internal conflicts made conquest inevitable historically. Legacy remained, but political sovereignty slipped gradually and permanently. Cyrus the Great approached Babylon with careful strategy. His army advanced without unnecessary bloodshed or destruction. The city gates opened without fierce battle surprisingly. Persians entered Babylon peacefully, securing control efficiently. Citizens welcomed Cyrus with cautious hope and relief. His reputation for tolerance preceded his arrival widely. Promises of respect for local customs reassured the population. Transition of power was smooth and orderly naturally. Temples and monuments remained untouched under Persian rule. Sacred spaces continued rituals uninterrupted and honored faithfully. Cultural heritage was preserved through careful administration consistently. Religious and civic structures symbolized continuity and stability effectively. Cyrus incorporated Babylon into his vast Persian empire. Governance maintained local traditions while implementing imperial oversight. Satraps ensured order, taxation, and trade functioned efficiently. Integration balanced authority and autonomy across Babylonian territories thoughtfully. Scholars and priests continued education and religious work. Babylonian knowledge, astronomy, and cuneiform were respected widely. Libraries and schools operated without disruption or interference deliberately. Intellectual life endured under Persian protection and guidance reliably. The Euphrates Canal system remained functional and vital. Waterways continued to support agriculture, trade, and daily life. Infrastructure reflected both Persian administration and Babylonian engineering ingenuity. Economic stability preserved prosperity and urban life successfully. Cyrus issued decrees honoring Babylonian kings and gods. Inscriptions affirmed respect for local culture and tradition. Royal authority was symbolically maintained under Persian rule. Political legitimacy combined conquest with cultural preservation wisely. Babylon retained symbolic importance as a ceremonial center. Festivals, processions, and rituals continued without interruption steadily. Citizens experienced continuity in civic and spiritual life. Religious observance reinforced social stability under new rulers subtly. Military garrisons secured the city while minimizing unrest. Persian forces balanced strength with diplomacy and prudence carefully. Occupation reinforced authority without provoking rebellion unnecessarily. Control was efficient, strategic, and largely non-violent permanently. Trade and markets thrived under Persian administration smoothly. Merchants continued commerce across Mesopotamia and neighboring regions. Economic networks ensured wealth flowed, despite political change consistently. Babylon remained a commercial hub under foreign sovereignty reliably. Cyrus's conquest became a model of enlightened leadership. Tolerance and respect ensured stability and loyalty among citizens. The empire expanded without destroying heritage or identity deliberately. Babylon exemplified how power could be exercised wisely peacefully. Even historians admired Cyrus's humane approach to conquest. The city's preservation became legendary throughout ancient chronicles. Peaceful transition ensured Babylon's culture survived centuries longer. Legacy of conquest combined with respect inspired generations consistently. Under Persian rule, Babylon continued intellectual and cultural achievements. Astronomy, mathematics, and literature thrived without interruption effectively. Scribes recorded events and traditions carefully under imperial oversight. Knowledge was preserved for posterity through stability and foresi. Cyrus's entry marked both the end and continuation. Political autonomy diminished, yet civilization and culture persisted. Babylon survived, remembered, and integrated into the Persian narrative. The city's greatness endured, despite foreign political control permanently. Persian administrators respected Babylonian customs and traditions. Kings and governors allowed religious practices to continue freely. Temples operated without interference from foreign rulers steadily. Priests maintained rituals, festivals, and sacred ceremonies consistently. Cultural identity remained strong under Persian governance carefully. Babylonian laws and administrative practices were largely retained. Satraps learned local procedures to govern efficiently. Local officials preserved civic structure with imperial oversight smoothly. Education and scholarship thrived despite political change consistently. Schools continued training scribes, priests, and scholars reliably. Knowledge of astronomy, mathematics, and literature was preserved. Libraries safeguarded clay tablets and ancient cuneiform records. Religious festivals reinforced communal cohesion and tradition daily. Citizens participated in ceremonies honoring Marduk and other gods. Faith maintained its role as cultural and social anchor. Rituals reflected continuity amid political transition and uncertainty subtly. Artisans continued producing murals, reliefs, and monumental sculpture. Palaces, temples, and gates were maintained with care. Craftsmanship preserved the aesthetic and symbolic richness of Babylon. Cultural achievements remained visible to citizens and visitors alike. Persian rulers issued decrees showing respect for heritage. Inscriptions honored local kings, gods, and customs visibly. Governance emphasized stability without erasing historical identity completely. Political authority coexisted with cultural preservation strategically. Trade and economy reflected Babylonian innovation and infrastructure. Merchants and markets continued operation under Persian supervision. Wealth and resources supported public works and civic life. Economic continuity reinforced cultural survival and social stability permanently. Urban planning and infrastructure remained functional and impressive. Canals, roads, and city walls were maintained meticulously. Engineering achievements were preserved for practical and ceremonial purposes. Babylon's physical structure reflected centuries of continuity and care. Legal codes and civic regulations were respected consistently. Dispute resolution followed traditional Babylonian laws reliably. Citizens retained confidence in justice and societal order. Persian oversight enhanced governance without eroding local authority subtly. Art, literature, and scholarship flourished in peaceful environments. Babylonian traditions influenced Persian intellectual and cultural policies. Knowledge spread through empire while preserving local identity. Cultural exchange enriched both city and imperial administration effectively. Historical records, inscriptions, and archives documented continuity clearly. Scribes recorded events under both Babylonian and Persian authority. Preservation ensured future generations could study ancient civilization thoroughly. Memory and identity was safeguarded despite foreign political cant. Festivals and public ceremonies reinforced Babylonian civic pride. Rituals remained central to community and city life. Religious authority and tradition continued to shape society subtly. Culture thrived alongside pragmatic Persian administration successfully. Persian administration demonstrated balance between control and respect. Power was exercised while honoring local customs and beliefs. Babylon became a model of preserved civilization under empire. Cultural legacy endured, despite centuries of foreign rule permanently. The city's identity remained visible through art, architecture, and religion. Even as rulers changed, Babylonian spirit remained strong. Persian governance preserved history, faith, and intellectual traditions. Babylon survived politically altered, but culturally vibrant and resilient. Alexander the Great arrived at Babylon with awe. The city's grandeur and history captivated his imagination completely. He envisioned making it the heart of his empire. Palaces, temples, and streets inspired his ambitious plans constantly. His generals and engineers surveyed the urban landscape carefully. Plans were drawn to expand and enhance the city. Architecture, roads, and canals would serve imperial administration efficiently. Every decision reflected Alexander's vision of a global capital. Temples and ziggurats remained sacred centers under his respect. Religious rituals were preserved even as new plans emerged. Alexander sought harmony between conquest and local tradition thoughtfully. Faith and politics were balanced in his urban vision subtly. Gardens, squares, and ceremonial avenues were central to planning. Spaces were intended for processions, public gatherings, and celebration. The city would host diverse cultures and officials harmoniously. Every street reflected strategic, functional, and aesthetic consideration clearly. Military installations were integrated into city expansion effectively. Fortifications reinforced control while maintaining visual and civic appeal. Armies could protect, oversee, and secure the capital efficiently. Defense and spectacle coexisted in urban design seamlessly. Waterways and canals were maintained to support agriculture and trade. Engineering projects improved irrigation, movement, and resource distribution. Alexander admired Babylonian ingenuity and sought to enhance it. Infrastructure reinforced both daily life and imperial ambition thoroughly. Artisans and scholars continued their work with royal support. Cultural production thrived as Alexander encouraged learning and creativity. Libraries, schools, and observatories were preserved and expanded. Knowledge and scholarship flourished under Macedonian administration strategically. Alexander celebrated Babylon with grand ceremonies and festivals lavishly. Citizens witnessed parades, offerings, and public displays of power. Processions reinforced authority while honoring gods and traditions. Urban spectacle communicated both ambition and respect for culture vividly. Even as he planned, Babylonian life remained vibrant steadily. Markets, temples, and neighborhoods operated without interruption naturally. Citizens continued daily routines alongside imperial vision and preparation. Urban rhythm merged history, culture, and Macedonian ambition seamlessly. Alexander's dream emphasized both permanence and glory visibly. Palaces and monuments were intended to last for centuries. Architecture communicated authority, civilization, and human achievement powerfully. Every structure reflected planning, vision, and ambition meticulously. Plans included connecting city to surrounding empire efficiently. Roads, bridges, and canals would facilitate governance and trade. Integration of urban space and empire-wide networks reflected strategy. Every improvement enhanced control, movement, and city grandeur permanently. Alexander admired Babylonian science, mathematics, and astronomy deeply. Observatories and scholars were respected and encouraged to continue. Knowledge was valued as essential to administration and progress. Intellectual life became a pillar of his capital vision consistently. Although Alexander died before completing his plans fully, his vision left a lasting impression on Babylon's identity. The city remained central to power, culture, and memory. Legacy of ambition intertwined with Babylonian history permanently and vividly. Babylon symbolized the convergence of ancient grandeur and new ambition. Alexander dreamed of uniting East and West under one city. Even unfinished plans inspired admiration among contemporaries and later generations. The city's skyline reflected history, innovation, and imperial vision endlessly. After Alexander, Babylon slowly lost its grandeur. Foreign rulers claimed the city, but it neglected maintenance. Walls crumbled, canals silted, and gardens decayed naturally. Once vibrant streets became quiet and abandoned gradually. Roman, Parthian, and later empires controlled the city. Power shifted elsewhere, leaving Babylon increasingly irrelevant politically. Temples fell into disrepair, while priests struggled to preserve rituals. Cultural life continued faintly amidst declining infrastructure slowly. Trade routes bypassed the city over decades steadily. Merchants sought safer, more prosperous commercial centers elsewhere. Economic vitality dwindled, reducing wealth and civic activity. Markets once bustling became silent, empty, and forgotten gradually. Invasions and conflicts further weakened Babylon's urban fabric. Walls were breached, and monuments suffered damage repeatedly. Foreign armies occupied spaces with minimal restoration efforts. Every conquest left scars on the city's legacy visibly. Natural decay compounded human neglect over centuries gradually. Floods, earthquakes, and erosion took their toll silently. Infrastructure deteriorated, and iconic structures collapsed entirely. Memory preserved glory, but physical city faded gradually. Scholars recorded Babylonian history, preserving knowledge for posterity. Texts, clay tablets, and chronicles ensured cultural continuity. Despite decay, the city's achievements inspired later civilizations. Legacy endured through literature, art, and historical memory permanently. Citizens dwindled as families migrated to emerging towns. Population decline transformed once bustling neighborhoods into ruins. Daily life, festivals, and rituals became rare occurrences. Community life faded as empire's focus shifted elsewhere steadily. Temples and ziggurats stood as silent witnesses patiently. Their presence reminded future generations of past glory. Even crumbling stones carried stories of faith and power. Monuments preserved history, culture, and collective human memory subtly. Byzantine, Sassanid, and Islamic rulers passed through region. Babylon became part of new political and cultural landscapes. Urban prominence diminished, but geographical and symbolic importance persisted. City faded physically, yet lived in collective imagination vividly. Archaeologists later uncovered ruins, revealing Babylon's former splendor. Excavations revealed walls, gates, and ceremonial streets carefully. Clay tablets, inscriptions, and artifacts reconstructed city's history. Knowledge of urban planning and culture was recovered gradually. Babylon's story survived through myth, legend, and scholarship. Tower of Babel and hanging gardens inspired imagination globally. Even in decline, Babylon remains symbol of ancient achievement. Cultural memory immortalized the city, despite physical disappearance permanently. Nature reclaimed streets, canals, and gardens over centuries. Vegetation and sand enveloped monuments quietly and slowly. Time transformed Babylon into ruins, admired by later explorers. Silence replaced bustle, yet all remained undiminished visibly. Legacy of administration, architecture, and knowledge endured beyond fall. Ideas, techniques, and traditions influenced civilizations far away. Babylon's contributions to law, science, and urban planning persisted. Even faded, the city shaped history and human progress permanently. The city faded, but its spirit endured timelessly. Historians, travelers, and scholars preserved memory through ages. Babylon remains a symbol of ambition, culture, and resilience. Its story reminds us of human achievement and transience continually. Babylon shaped law, writing, science, and astronomy. Innovations influenced governance, knowledge, and human progress. Clay tablets preserved wisdom across generations and empires. Civilization remembered its contributions through time and space. Myths and stories continued in religion and literature. Tower of Babel and Hanging Gardens inspired imagination. Stories intertwined history with lessons, morals, and creativity. Legends kept Babylon alive in collective human memory. Influence reached Persian, Greek, and later civilizations. Architecture, administration, and scholarship shaped distant cultures. Knowledge traveled, inspired empires, and guided leaders. Babylon's ideas transcended borders, time, and geography. Ruins still whisper ancient greatness across millennia. Walls, gates, and streets tell stories silently today. Every stone, relief, and ziggurat echoes human achievement. Even in decay, its spirit captivates scholars and travelers. Empires fall, but Babylon's ideas live forever. Legacy endures through culture, knowledge, and innovation. Civilization remembers its ambition, creativity, and resilience. Babylon remains immortal, written in clay and stone permanently.